Fairgrounds Speedway, but a community group has some different ideas about how to use that space. Channel 4's Lydia Fielder reports.
The group sent a letter to Mayor O'Connell, Metro Council, and the Metro Fair Board. It says they believe the Speedway site should be used as community green space that could be repurposed as a park. Plus, they believe some of that space could be used for affordable housing. There's even calls for cleaning up Browns Creek nearby. In the past couple of years, there's also been support for restoring the Fairgrounds Speedway as a spot for racing.
The mayor's office says a decision about how to use that space is forthcoming. Well, for the second time in a week, a fire has broken out at a Bellevue apartment complex. This time, 8 units of the landmark at Lindcrest Reserve Apartments went up in flames. This man tells Channel 4 they were alerted to the fire by a neighbor.
So she started banging on my door and woke me up, saying that there's a fire, you need to get up, we need to get out right now. And then we come outside and there's smoke coming from our neighbor's side of the building.
Now, the last weekend, the Slate Apartments homes fire destroyed 12 units there. Investigators have not yet determined the cause of that fire. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
For the second straight day, tech stocks that deal heavily in artificial intelligence dragged markets lower. Those companies have faced criticism that their stock prices shot too high, too fast, and became too expensive. Additionally, a study from MIT's NANDA initiative warns that most corporations are not yet seeing any measurable return from generative AI investments. The Dow added 15 points, the Nasdaq lost 144, the S&P gave up 15. Mixed profit reports from big U.S. retailers helped keep the rest of the market in check. TJX, the company behind TJ Maxx, climbed 3% after beating analysts' forecasts for profit and revenue. Lowe's added 1% after reporting a profit for the latest quarter that topped expectations. The only factory left in California that turns sugar beets into sugar is shutting down after 78 years. The Southern Minnesota Beet Sugar Cooperative already starting the decommissioning process. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
We've got stock futures all pointing down this morning with the Dow futures minus 116, the Nasdaq futures down 4, S&P futures, they're minus 6. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather are next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Well, the majors are looking good so far this morning, and you still do have the construction project in Hendersonville on Old Shackle Island Road between West Main Street and Volunteer Drive. That is railroad repairs taking place there. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
5:06, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning, and hope you are doing well. Super text line is up and running. 615-737-9986. You gotta love Gavin Newsom.
Do we have to?
A master. No, we don't. I was being facetious, Joan.
Got you.
A master class in classlessness. So listen to this, or classless. Listen to this. Gavin Newsom insulting Donald Trump cabinet member in Spanish after the Trump administration removing languages from the government website. So this is from Newsweek. California Governor Gavin Newsom insulting Scott Turner, President Donald Trump's Housing and Urban Development Secretary, in Spanish after announcing the removal of languages in the department's website. So here's what he says, and this is pure Gavin Newsom, right? HUD is English only. HUD is English only. Read a post by Turner showing images of the removal of all languages other than English on the website. So Gavin Newsom responds with a phrase in Spanish on X, which is translated to blank off. So the governor,
he's so cute.
So the governor of California is now telling the Trump administration to blank off on social media. You know what the thing is, though? You know what the funny thing is? You know what he's doing, right? You know what Gavin Newsom is doing? Remember a while ago, and we've touched on this, but remember a while ago where we had the Democrat Party, and there was all this talk about how they were embracing assassination culture, and how the Democrats and the Democrat Party, they wanted to fight fire with fire. You know what I mean? They wanted to just really get tough with the Trump administration. That's what Gavin Newsom is doing. And in doing so, you have a lot of people that are saying that he is really destroying his reputation because he is acting Trump-like on the socials, mimicking and mocking Donald Trump, telling the administration to F off. And as we talked about yesterday, as we spoke about yesterday, what do we now see? We now see Gavin Newsom skyrocketing in the polls. So as a lot of people are saying, well, you know, it's really unbecoming of Gavin Newsom. It's working for him, and it's working for the Democrats. But here's the thing, is that Newsom, I feel like he's not being authentic. Donald Trump is what Donald Trump is. Gavin Newsom, all of a sudden, Gavin Newsom is a tough guy, right? So it feels like there is a certain inauthenticity about Gavin Newsom right now. But I also want you to think about everything that is going on in California. You've got the state that is number one in homelessness, number one in unemployment, really high in crime, high in illegal aliens, and this, telling the Trump administration to F off, this seems to be what Gavin Newsom is focusing on. And so the more that you see them doing this, the more that this is going on, the more both sides of the aisle are debating whether or not this is the right way for Gavin Newsom. Number one, is it the right way for Newsom to behave? And number two, is this really going to help him politically? Now, Morning Joe had an absolute meltdown. This was yesterday on his show, and he's screaming. He is literally screaming at the Democrat Party. Listen.
Like, you're trying to do everything to distract the American people from the fact that you're screwing up on job one. And job one is helping working Americans and helping the middle class afford their lives and build a life where their children are going to live better than them. That's the American dream. And you have done nothing but play politics over the past year and a half. It's really not that hard to do.
We'll see.
Try that. Cut and paste. It's really not hard to do. And I would be telling the Republicans the same thing if Democrats were off over here. It's not hard, but I don't know why they like Gavin Newsom. He wants to own Donald Trump. He wants to be Donald Trump light. You can't be Donald Trump light. Hey, Gavin, talk into the camera and talk about making life more affordable. Not
I mean, listen, obviously, I wonder if Morning Joe, I wonder if he's about to, Joe Scarborough, is he about to go red-pilled? Is he about to get red-pilled? I'm wondering. And by the way, apologies to you folks on YouTube. We can't seem to make the streaming work today so far. We are working on it. But here's the crazy thing, is that Joe Scarborough, obviously correct when he says that that's what Gavin Newsom should be doing, is trying to make things more affordable. So Trump may say and do some crazy things. He always has. That is what makes him unique. But he's also performing at an incredibly high level. Donald Trump is. He is trying to, and he is, making his second term historic. Donald Trump is making peace deals. He is working hard on the economy, fixing the border, trying to clean up the crime, deport illegal aliens, deport illegal alien gangbangers, do all of these things. And so Donald Trump, he may be talking big, but he is also getting stuff done. Can the same thing be said about Gavin Newsom, the governor of California? The answer to that question is no.
Not only for people in California, but if you want to talk about people in New Hampshire, our people in Iowa, our people in South Carolina, they would like to know how their lives can be more affordable. Not how you can own Donald Trump. Donald Trump is not running again. These Democrats, who I have called Chuck Wepner instead of Muhammad Ali, Chuck Wepners, they're the ones that are running again. They're the ones that are in the boxing ring with Democrats, not Donald Trump.
It does seem, and we'll see if Democrats are taking note.
I mean, I'll tell you what. I mean, Joe Scarborough, it's almost like he realizes what is going on. And by the way, because, you know, there's always, it's like every single day there is a crazy A story about California and some of the things that is going on in California to make their state a terrible place to live. And again, every single day we have another story about life in Los Angeles and the ramifications of California. Another story that makes California look really bad is obviously the story that I've been covering for the last several days, and that is, and I've been covering this off and on for quite some time, the trucker that killed 3 people since he got that driver's license in California. Has Gavin Newsom even commented on that? I have not seen. Joan, have you seen Gavin Newsom comment on the fact that the Indian guy, the guy from India who killed 3 people with that illegal U-turn, was an illegal alien, couldn't speak English, failed the English-speaking test, and
Can't read the signs.
And he can't read the signs.
Yeah.
He could only read 1 out of 4. Has Gavin Newsom commented on that at all?
There has been crickets.
Has he just been, owning Donald Trump on the socials?
Yeah, it feels like this is his high. Like this is how he gets off, going after Donald Trump instead of the things he should be paying attention to.
Going after the illegal alien truck drivers?
Yes,
But
stuff like that.
Stuff like that. Ron DeSantis, of course, was on Jesse Waters' show last night. He has something to say about all that.
California. We had an issue where you had an illegal alien truck driver that got a commercial driver's license in the state of California, employed by a California company, kill 3 people in Florida. This guy didn't even speak English. We're bringing him up on charges. He's going to face a lot. And I can announce, Jesse, that I said initially the company needs to be held accountable. And we've been working with the federal government, and they are pulling that company's license to do business because you cannot employ somebody who cannot read the road signs.
Yep. I mean, that is what's been going on in California. And of course, obviously, everybody knows what's been happening. But is anybody really paying attention? I mean, I know Fox News is talking about it. I know that I'm talking about it. But is anybody, and I know that, Donald Trump and J.D. Vance and Sean Duffy is most certainly on this. But that's the question. Anybody else paying attention? CNN paying attention to this story? Is MSNBC, are the networks paying attention to this story? I mean, I'll be honest with you, I don't know. But I would highly doubt it because, of course, that would make California look bad, wouldn't it? And that would make the liberals, the Democrats, look bad. I love what Sean Duffy had to say about all of this. Of course, you know that Sean Duffy is the transportation secretary, and I do have his words coming up. By the way, I will also say that just because they're going to pull the license of this company in California, I've also heard the state of Washington, so there's some confusion. But just because they're going to pull this company's license to teach, it doesn't mean that company is gone. And I'll explain coming up next. 5:15, time to check the roads on WTN.
So far this morning, we are looking really good. There's no problems to speak of on 24. 40 looks great. No problems on 65. Just the construction spot in Hendersonville on Old Shackle Island Road between West Main Street and Volunteer Drive. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. It is going to be a high of 87 today, feeling like 93. Can you feel it getting cooler, Joan?
I have to say, when I was out there this morning, I thought, wow, it's really humid. No, I don't feel it, but
You're a glasses half empty kind of gal, aren't
yeah,
you, Joan?
I am.
All right, cool.
I
it's
am.
fine. I'm a glasses half full kind of guy. So it's going to be mostly sunny, nice and cool today, cooler, feeling like 93. Intermittent cloud coverage as well throughout the day. And appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News. So you know what the problem is with these companies that are giving these illegal alien non-English speakers, they can't read the road signs, 18-wheelers, you know? The problem is that, and this is what truckers are saying online, these truck driving schools, so they may go after the license of these businesses, but you know what they do is they just come back as another company. They rebrand, relicense, and so they just come back as a different company. And so it's like playing whack-a-mole. And so the problem is that, okay, so you shut down the company tomorrow, same guys, same people. It's a racket. They're going to come back as a different company. And so it is nearly impossible to try and get all of these folks out of business. You just can't do it. And of course, states like California, states like, the state of Washington, haven't really focused on them much. But these companies that allow this to happen, that is what they are doing, is they placate these companies in putting these illegal alien, illiterate truck drivers behind the wheels of 18-wheelers, and they're killing Americans. But Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, this is what he had to say.
In some of these states, you have liberal governors who don't want to comply with the law. And they think that they know best and that we're just trying to be mean to illegals. But whether you're going to fly in an airplane, you're going to be on a train, you're going to be on the American roadway, you deserve to be safe. And you expect that your federal government is going to have smart policies in place that do keep you safe. And again, they just blatantly in New Mexico said, we're not going to comply with federal regulation and give him that road test.
Yeah, so that is Sean Duffy, and he is absolutely right on all of those things, especially when it comes to the liberal governors. I think, Joan, do you think this is an 80-20 issue? I think this is an 80-20 issue.
I definitely think it's at least 80-20.
Thank you, Joan. At least an 80. I can always count on Joan. At least an 80-20 issue. Ask any American. I would do it this way. Ask any American. Do you support? Now, of course, listen to how I'm going to do this. Do you support illiterate, illegal alien truck drivers that have killed Americans behind the wheel of an 18-wheeler? Most would obviously say no. That's insane. But Gavin Newsom's state does, and by the way, again, other states do as well, as you just heard Sean Duffy saying. So, and just as I continue to pile on California here, Joan, you as a woman, this may come off as sexist. I'm sorry. Did you know that Bed Bath & Beyond is back?
In stores?
It's coming back, yeah.
Oh.
Did you even know they were gone?
I didn't know they left.
Well, I knew they were gone, but I actually have ordered things online from there.
Okay, so you probably didn't know they were gone. Louis just said he didn't know that they were gone. So they are now trying to come back. Mm-hmm. And they have opened up a new store in Brentwood. This has been discussed before. So if you want to go into a Bed Bath & Beyond, because they closed all their stores, and now they're trying to come back, except in the state of California.
That's incredible.
The guy that owns Bed Bath & Beyond, or the CEO, whatever, he is like, we're not opening up in California. There's no point. And so this is the headline. California critic claims Bed Bath & Beyond decision is not about politics. Bed Bath & Beyond announced that its comeback will not include locations in the largest state in the nation, California. Name is Marcus Lemonis, maybe?
Yes.
Lemonis, Bed Bath & Beyond executive chairman, said in a statement issued on August 20th that the company will not open a brick-and-mortar location in California. Lemonis said that the state, home to over 39 million people, will be served through delivery only. In the statement, Lemonis claimed that the decision is not about politics. However, the statement repeatedly attacked regulatory policies passed in the state.
Fun fact.
Well, here's the thing.
Lemonis is also the CEO of Camping World.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, he knows business.
Well, and when they say, when he says it's not about politics, people, the term political, I got to try and explain this. The term political these days means that you just, you hate Democrats and Democrats hate Republicans. It's about the regulatory policies in California. And that is a shade of politics, because that is a very Democrat thing, and that is a very blue state thing or blue city thing, overregulation. And so what Lemonis is saying is that the overregulation of the state of California make it not worth it to try to open stores in California. What he's not saying is that a lot of these cities in California at this point, like San Francisco and Oakland, they're no-go zones. Nobody can open a business there because you're going to have a bunch of people breaking in and stealing crap. Lemonis says California has created one of the most overregulated, expensive, and risky environments for businesses in America. In a February 5th appearance on Fox Business, Lemonis called a California law requiring corporations with revenues of more than $1 billion to report their greenhouse gas emissions. Can you imagine that? So you're making over $1 billion in your business, and you are employing all of those people. You're bringing in all of that sales tax revenue for the state of California. But California wants you to report your greenhouse gas emissions. I mean, come on. So how many businesses really want to do that, especially these days when in California it is such an absolute hellhole? And so Lemonis says, we are taking a stand because it is time for common sense. The statement reads, businesses deserve the chance to succeed, employees deserve jobs that last, and customers deserve fair prices. California's system delivers the exact opposite. So there's a lot going on in California. There's also a lot not going on in California, and that would be Bed Bath & Beyond. It is 5:24, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. Joan Jones has the news at 5:30. Joan.
Coming up here, accused killer Austin Drummond, the guy who is alleged to have killed 4 people, he says he didn't do it. We'll hear from a reporter who spoke to him. Also, Murfreesboro's new signs telling residents to stop doing this. Those stories and more coming up at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
529, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 89.7. WTN, 615-737-9986. All right, coming up. Joan, you know how media works and politics and all that kind of stuff.
Sort of, yeah.
As much as I do. So, yeah, right. J.D. Vance is all over the place.
Oh, he really is. Wait, did you see him yesterday?
I mean, I saw him on the streets of Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
Mocking the protesters.
And they were out.
Oh, they certainly were. Do you think we're going to go from Trump derangement syndrome to Vance derangement syndrome?
I think it's just like the easy transfer. Absolutely.
VDS.
Yeah.
VDS is what we're going to have. But listen, I do like that he's not squeamish about all of the people going after him. Mm-hmm. And I love that. I think that is outstanding because for J.D. Vance, this is a guy who is just absolutely primed to take up the MAGA mantle. So we'll talk about that and a whole lot more straight ahead. It is 5:30, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. And for the first time since his capture, the man charged with killing 4 family members in West Tennessee is speaking out. News Channel 5's Nick Barris has an exclusive interview with Austin Drummond from his jail cell in Obion County.
He says he did not kill the 4 victims. Drummond confirmed he did become a member of the Vice Lord's Gang during a prior prison stint. Once he got out, he said he was approached by prosecutors and then became a confidential informant for months, assisting authorities, including the FBI, undercover to help crack down on drug smuggling into jails and prisons, helping to arrest dealers, crooked cops, and gang member leadership. Then in recent weeks, in late July, he says he was notified that his cover was blown. And then the 4 people were murdered and he ran. Now, Drummond admits he did wrong by running, but he said he was simply scared. Now, he says he is innocent and had no reason to kill the 4 individuals, all of whom he said he considered to be family.
Now, News Channel 5 says Drummond said he was not prepared to answer questions like who did kill that family and to explain the circumstances surrounding that baby that was left in a car seat in someone's yard 40 miles away. New signs popping up around Murfreesboro, and they ask you to say no to panhandling downtown.
The signs ask people to, quote, please say no to panhandling. It also has that QR code there that you can scan. That'll direct you to local charities that offer resources like food assistance, places to stay, medical care, counseling, and even some job opportunities for the homeless. The city says panhandling is not only illegal in Murfreesboro, it can also be dangerous, and we know it can hold up traffic.
And that's Channel 4's Lydia Fielder. That is the latest news. We've got your traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Some volume starting to build up now on 24 in the Laverne area and also on 65 southbound side into the Goodlettsville area. And just construction, Hendersonville closed this morning on Old Shackle Island Road between West Main Street and Volunteer Drive as they continue those railroad repairs. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.537 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and good morning to you. Hope you are doing well. Joan, have you heard that President Trump apparently has a cankle problem? At least if you listen to MSNBC, that's what they are reporting.
Seriously?
I kid you not. I just saw this story. I just saw it.
So they've seen his ankles, like, honestly? It's not like he's Joe Biden and sitting on the beach.
So here's the headline. And I promise you, folks, I just saw this 2 seconds ago. Donald Trump, this is from the Daily Beast. They are notoriously anti-Donald Trump. Trump loses the plot after MSNBC mocks cankle cover-up. Am I really reading this? Donald Trump has lashed out at MSNBC after the network suggested the 79-year-old president is taking steps to hide his cankles from public view. Joan, can you help me out? What exactly is a cankle? Like, I've heard people mock and joke about cankles.
So when you get older, your ankles are not as defined.
Is it like a weight thing? Like you got fat cankles?
Yeah, maybe.
Swollen.
They look swollen
and creased. Yeah.
Do you really think that Donald Trump would be trying to hide cankles, though? Like, of all the things.
Oh, I see what they're saying.
Here's what they say. In a typical all-caps rant on True Social, Donald Trump attacked the liberal network as fake news while referencing its upcoming name change to MS Now, or My Source News Opinion World. Is that their new name? Yeah. MSNBC?
It's MS Now, but yes, that whole long thing.
My Source News Opinion World.
Correct.
All right. As part of a rebrand during its split from NBC Universal. You know, the only way that MSNBC is going to regain any kind of credibility is if they fire the people that have been horrifically Trump deranged for all this time. Like, are they going to get rid of, I know they got rid of Joy Reid. Congratulations there. But are they going to get rid of Leica Lawrence O'Donnell? Are they going to get, that guy is so insufferable.
He's terrible.
What's the one with Rachel Maddow?
Yeah.
They're going to get rid of Rachel Maddow? Anyway.
Cankle, by the way.
Yes.
I didn't realize this. It's your leg and ankles are so swollen that there's no distinction between your calf and ankle, so it becomes a cankle.
Got it.
Yeah.
MSNBC is doing so. This is what Trump wrote on the socials, right? Mm-hmm. MSNBC is doing so poorly in the ratings that they are looking to change their name in order to get away from the stench of their fake news product. So much fun to watch their weak and ineffective owner, Comcast, Comcast.
Yes.
Headed by dopey Brian Roberts, hopelessly and aimlessly flailing in the wind in an attempt to disassociate itself from the garbage that they created. MSNBC is a failure by any name. So I guess he's upset because they were talking about how he was shielding his swollen ankles. Trump, no stranger to attacking media outlets he doesn't like, went after MSNBC when one of its star anchors, Lawrence O'Donnell, mocked him for shielding his swollen ankles, a symptom of the medical condition chronic venous? Venous insufficiency.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we know he has that.
By the way, do you know what Lawrence O'Donnell has? I just realized this. He has chronic insufferability.
Yes.
Thank you. Anyway,
That condition President Trump revealed already, the venous insufficiency.
Right. So why exactly is it that they're focused on him trying to hide it? And how does one hide cankles anyway? That's what I don't understand. So
With
why is
socks.
it his socks? What
With
about his socks?
No, you hide it with socks.
Yeah, you put socks on.
So, okay, they've got a photo. Have you seen the photo of President Trump sitting with
Yes.
with Putin?
Yeah.
And his ankles look swollen. And that's what they're going on.
This is incredible. So this is what they're reporting on as Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin are holding a historic press conference in Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
They are reported, I'm looking at this photo,
Yeah.
and it's zeroed in on Donald Trump's socks. But I guess my question is, okay, so he's got socks on. How exactly does that mean that he's trying to hide the cankles, which apparently you said, Joan, he's already said that
He's revealed that he has that.
I've got this issue.
Yeah. But they're trying to compare him to Putin's ankles, which are thin. He's not a big guy.
Right.
And President Trump, I mean, look at his legs. He's a big guy.
He's a big man.
He is.
So, you know what? Here's you know what the ultimate irony in all of this is, Joan? Where the heck was MSNBC when Joe Biden was losing his mind?
Bam.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like, oh my God, you're talking about cankles?
And we
Joe
were
Biden-
watching. The decline of Joe Biden was so evident.
Yes.
And they were shielding their eyes. I'm not going to look in that direction. They're crazy.
I do want to know. Let's see here. I do want to know, like, what is there has to be a bigger point as far as the cankles go. Like, there's got to be a bigger point. Like, okay, so does cankles mean that, the man is about to die of a heart attack? Or, O'Donnell quipped that the Russian president, a 72-year-old ankles, showed none of the mileage of Donald Trump's, whose swollen cankles were on full display.
Apparently, Alex Jones is saying that because he's got this condition, that it also points to larger issues. It can lead to all kinds of things like cognitive disability. We've been there, done that with another president who, whatever. But he also says that President Trump is go, go, go. Like he doesn't sleep enough. He doesn't eat well enough.
No.
And,
And do you know why he's doing that, Joan?
It's pointing to issues that could be coming.
Do you know why?
Because he's saving America.
Because you're saving America, Joan.
He's got his cape on. He's got the big S on his chest.
Listen.
And he's saving America.
When they say that, Donald Trump's, ankles, I guess, they say Putin, 72-year-old ankles showed none of the mileage of Trump's. Well, that's because Donald Trump is doing everything he can to try to help America. And if he's got a lot of mileage on those cankles, well, then so be it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind the president having to, deal with cankles. Does it hurt when you have cankles? I don't even know. Lou, does it hurt when a guy has cankles?
I can imagine walking on swollen ankles. That might be painful.
Yeah, I guess.
don't think so. I think he's just.
No?
I think it's just swelling. Like it's just
I
swelling.
don't think it's comfortable.
Yeah, there you go. It's probably not comfortable. Valerie said, "Hey, what about Hillary's? She's the cankle queen."
Thank you, Valerie.
Yes, thank you, Valerie.
Let's see here. 2065 says swollen ankles can be from anybody over 55 that are on their feet all day.
Yeah.
Trump is on his feet for America, 2065, 20 hours a day. Biden on his feet 4 hours a day. I don't even think Biden was on his feet 4 hours a day. Like, I think Biden was either sitting or sleeping.
Yes.
And he was probably sleeping while he was sitting.
Just watching reruns of Hazel on the TV.
Hazel?
Yeah.
What is that?
You don't remember?
No. Remind me.
Hazel TV series. She was the maid, Hazel.
Oh, I have no idea.
Starring Shirley Booth.
Okay. Shirley Booth?
Booth.
Okay. I don't know who that is either. So, boy, I'm like batting 1,000 today.
Well, it's very old, so that's something
okay.
that Joe Biden would remember, and you may necessarily not remember that.
Got it. And by the way, I really do think it says something about MSNBC if they are focusing on Donald Trump's cankles and not, other stuff that is far more important. And, of course, we've spent the last 10 minutes talking about cankles. So, I don't know. Let's go to the phones. If you've got cankles, 615, totally kidding. So the National Guard is now in Washington, D.C. I think that is great.
The Tennessee National Guard.
The Tennessee National Guard.
Yeah, along with National Guards from West Virginia, South Carolina. Like, everybody's sending their guards to help out.
I think that's great. I mean, obviously, I have no issue with the Tennessee National Guard going to Washington, D.C. I think yesterday you were playing some tape of some of our local clown showers. John Ray Clemens. Oh, it's so unnecessary.
Yeah.
Right? I think it was John Ray Clemens and others.
Yep.
Should I just start calling them like the clown showers?
The clown showers. I like it. Yeah.
Hey, did you hear, by the way, just real quick, because I know that I'm a news show, but I'm going to talk about Morgan Wallen for a second. I did a little reel on this yesterday.
Okay.
Did you see the big middle finger, Joan, that Morgan Wallen has given to the Grammy people?
Oh, no.
So
was it because of what's her face?
Beyonce.
Yeah, that's her.
I like to call her what's her face, but sometimes I do have to identify
Say her
her.
name. Yeah.
Stay in my name, stay in my name. So, yeah. So Morgan Wallen, he's done, I don't know how many albums, 3 or 4 or whatever. But, I mean, they've been huge albums.
Yeah.
Last year, Beyonce recorded and I'm going to air quote this, a country album. It was, I mean, I listened to some of it. I wasn't impressed. And so she won the Grammy for Best Country Album. And, I mean, country fans were like, you've got to be kidding me.
She
right?
recorded that album specifically to make fun of people who listen to and produce country music.
And yet she won a Grammy.
Yeah.
So Morgan Wallen has decided, you know what? His new album, which is absolutely fabulous, called I'm the Problem.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He said, you know what? I'm not even going to submit this for a Grammy. The Grammy people, because it is totally irrelevant. Morgan Wallen, I think, couldn't care less about the Grammys.
Yes.
Like Donald Trump couldn't care less at this point about a Nobel Peace Prize.
Yep.
And so Morgan Wallen is like, I'm not even going to submit my new album for a Grammy because, number one, he's a huge artist, but he never wins. And then when you have the ultimate slap in the face, which is flipping Beyonce winning a Grammy album for Best Country Album, come on. It was just dumb.
For an album using which she mocks me and you and any other red-blooded American.
Yep. Yeah. So I love that Morgan Wallen did that. And I love
start a trend. Wouldn't that be awesome?
It would be.
And it would put the Grammys out of business.
Well, okay, so just like Obama winning the Nobel Peace Prize for literally doing nothing, the Grammys giving Beyonce the Grammy for the Best Country Album, even though that album, in my opinion, sucked. Mm-hmm. And I'm a country fan. I think that they made themselves, the Grammy people made themselves completely and absolutely irrelevant. And so I do love that Beyonce and President Obama, they got these awards when, frankly, they shouldn't have had them. And now the artists themselves are saying, you know what, I'm out.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter. Do you know why it doesn't matter? Because every single weekend or every couple days, 3-4 days, Morgan Wallen is selling out massive stadiums.
Yep.
Massive stadiums across the country. And his album, and I don't pay attention to like the charts and all that stuff, but his last album, the I'm the Problem, and the one before, they've got just a multitude of top 10 downloads and all that kind of stuff. He is huge. So he doesn't need the Grammys and he doesn't need all the other, he doesn't need it. Because he knows that his fans love his music. And so these award shows, they are. Basically what they're doing is they are making themselves irrelevant, and I love it. By the way, If you want to follow me, I'm doing Reel almost every day. You can call it the people in the highfalutin programming offices, Joan.
Yes.
Once again, they want me to call the Reels and some of the things that I'm doing on social media the daily download. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
I actually kind of like that.
You like that, the daily download?
Yeah, like play off of download, right?
All right, so I can tell that Louie's laughing because I can see his teeth shining because he's got all
sparkling.
that grill on. So maybe we should call Louie Shiny Louie. Anyway, Louie, what do you think? Daily download, please. Do you agree with Joan and the people in the offices that
Louie,
that's
hang with me.
No. Don't do that, Joan.
Louie,
what do you think?
That ain't it.
All right, so Louie's saying that ain't it. All right.
I don't know.
I don't know. Super texters, do you like daily download?
I can't say it over the air, but it just comes off a little funny.
Hold on. What are you saying? Louie, say it to my headphones. Hold on. I'm going to see.
Got to turn off your
turn off your mic.
microphone.
Hold on. Louie, turn off your mic.
Yeah.
Now say whatever you're thinking in my headphones. Go.
This is where he's talking into the microphone, but not.
Is his
speaking.
microphone?
No. You can't hear him, but I'm letting the listeners know.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Yeah.
He's talking
so
to
you
you.
Go, Louie. Go.
Mm-hmm.
Are you talking about like sexual? Okay. All right. I got it, Louie. Thank you.
Oh.
I don't know how to say this.
You probably shouldn't then.
Yeah.
Haven't you gotten into enough trouble this week?
I have, actually. He was focusing on the second word of daily download.
Got it. Yeah.
Yep, we're done.
Okay.
You know, I don't know, does Louie have a point, Joan? Thank God it's a 5 o'clock hour.
No, because in my head, I'm hearing download, but we're calling it download.
Download. See,
Louie, get your mind out of the gutter. Gosh.
Wow, Louie. I'm so disappointed. You know what, Louie? I'm not angry. I'm disappointed.
I'm not the only one thinking it, though. I have to say
I see.
Are people
Super
on
texters are saying it sounds dirty, and
see,
it says that you're. Well, it said. I can't. It says that you're pooping.
No.
Yeah, I know.
Everybody's focused on the sexual thing.
These people.
You know what? Can I tell you something, Joan? I think it says a lot about me that I didn't go down that road when clearly other people are.
Yeah.
Louie. So I think that says a lot about me and you, Joan. That, you know, we're not perpetually in the gutter.
Uh-huh.
Like some of you people.
Oh, there's a lot of those people.
Is it really?
Yeah. Well,
okay.
I can't believe it. Okay. Maybe I take it back, Dan.
You know what?
You shouldn't say that after all.
I didn't like it, not because it felt dirty. I didn't like it because I feel like it sounds very braggadocious. You know what I'm talking about?
Right. Like you
Yeah.
download something from Dan every day. Of course.
You know what? No, now that Louie and everybody else has made it into a sexual thing,
Yeah.
no matter how you phrase it, it sounds dirty.
It does.
I need to go take a shower now. Joan was coming up at 6.
Well, we are hearing from the man accused of murdering 4 people in West Tennessee, and we've got the audio, too. You'll want to stick around to hear that. Also, a city manager under arrest, and the city council is under fire for not taking action on him sooner. Stick around for that and more coming up here at 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
5:59 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right, so J.D. Vance, he is the vice president. He's on a tour, basically. He's making the rounds in a lot of different places. And it really does, Joan, I don't know if you've noticed this, but it does seem like he's on the charm circuit.
Yeah.
He's on the charm circuit, and he's being put in positions where he is able to shine. I'm going to talk about that and some really, really bad news for Democrats. It is all straight ahead. Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. Now 6 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. A little cloudy right now, and it's 71 degrees. But the best news of all, it's going to 88 degrees in the sunshine later today. Stick around for the forecast coming up with Stefano here right after the news. We're hearing from accused quadruple murderer Austin Drummond for the first time since he was captured. He spoke with News Channel 5's Nick Barris from the jail in Obion County where he's being held. Drummond claims that he was an undercover informant for the FBI to bring down drug dealers, crooked cops, and gang leaders. Drummond also says his cover was blown, and then the 4 people were murdered, and he ran away.
Bad things happened. And I was afraid that because I was an informant, things would go wrong. Things would happen to me.
Drummond claims that he didn't commit the murders. He said he's not ready, however, to answer questions about who he thinks did kill the family and why the baby was abandoned 40 miles away. In Lewisburg, city manager Roy Hayslip has been arrested for allegedly stalking another city employee and breaking into her home. Channel 4 says that in June, Lewisburg City Council seemingly acknowledged that there was a problem, but they didn't do anything about it.
There is a female employee that has order protection against one of our top leaders.
Now, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation began their investigation of Hayslip in May at the request of a local district attorney. Military operations are right now underway in Gaza, happening today.
Israel is now preparing to occupy Gaza City. 60,000 IDF reservists are being called up, and the Israeli military says its troops are already on the outskirts of the city. We've seen airstrikes this morning on a number of neighborhoods to the south of Gaza City. It does look like the Israelis, after threatening this for some weeks, really do intend to carry this out.
ABC's James Longman reporting there. Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
From ABC News, Wall Street Now. A strong showing for TJX, the company that owns TJ Maxx, Marshalls, and Home Goods, announcing earnings that beat expectations, raising earnings guidance for the full year. But Target tumbled, shares down more than 6%. Intel's market value is up about $24 billion this month. That's thanks to reports that the U.S. government may buy a 10% equity stake, and that on top of a $2 billion investment from SoftBank. Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook defiant after President Trump called on her to resign after a member of his administration accused her of committing mortgage fraud. Cook says she has no plans to step down. Dave Packer, ABC News.
And stock futures are on the minus side this morning. Dow futures down 146, NASDAQ futures falling 11, S&P futures, they're down 10 points. That's the latest news. Stick around for traffic and weather coming up. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. All right, drivers, watch it on the eastern split this morning. It looks like there's a crash that's blocking off two lanes, the two left lanes on I-24 westbound just before I-40. And it's stop and go from the Antioch Pike overpass up to that spot this morning. Looks like it's just starting to slow down as well on 65 heading into the city, and 40 is looking good. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.607 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. J.D. Vance is continuing on his charm offensive. But first, Joan, you have a story that you were talking about where the city of Murfreesboro is asking people not to give money to the homeless folks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested to know, and I'm not going to do it right now, but maybe in the 7 o'clock hour, I'm surprised that people still give to panhandlers. Like, haven't they been busted many times as some of them drive better cars than you do, folks? You know what I mean?
I have a story about this that's so disturbing, I just want to cry.
Okay, go ahead.
I was yesterday in Green Hills, and there's a woman on the corner. She's got a walker, and she had a small dog and a little girl with blonde hair, like maybe 4 years old, sitting there asking for money. And it was like she was using this little girl and this dog, whom she kept on pulling up, by the leash off of its feet.
Yeah.
As her means of getting money. And I was so disgusted by it. And how long is she sitting there using this child as a prop?
That's what she was doing. And here's the deal, folks. Before you say, oh, Joan's cold-hearted. Do you know how many family services are available to people in this state where if you've got a child, then, I mean, the homeless shelter. The homeless shelter, the Nashville homeless shelter that we do the radiothon for every year. You got places like that. You've got all kinds of state agencies as well. And I do understand that not all panhandlers are homeless. There is a difference, and some people, whatever, just need the extra money, whatever it is. But I just find them all as props. And I'm not discounting the fact that some panhandlers truly do need money.
Absolutely.
Totally get it. But by the same token, there's a lot of people out there that are not being honest about it. And I've gone through, and I've said this 1,000 times, where, I've tried to give way back when, years ago, and I've stopped doing it since, but I was walking out of a restaurant in California one time, and I had some food left over, and there's a guy sitting there, and he had a sign that said something to the extent of, "Hungry, please help."
Mm-hmm.
So I gave him my leftover food, and he threw it at me.
Wow.
Because he didn't want the food, even though he said that he was hungry.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted the money, and I assume that he wanted money for alcohol. Mm-hmm. And just an assumption on my part, but I wasn't feeling, I was feeling generous, and I didn't particularly like the food. And so I was perfectly willing. I mean, it was literally a steak. And my very small children were with me at the time, and I've never given since. I just left a really bad taste. And I'm the guy who on a very cold night in Los Angeles when I was working overnight at a radio station, and it does get cold in Los Angeles, there was a guy who was sleeping. It was outside of the Pacific Stock Exchange, and I walked out, and there was a guy that was shivering. He was sleeping and shivering in one of the, I don't know what you call it, but it's like the side of the building. And I went to my car, and I happened to have an extra coat, and I laid my coat on him. I gave him my coat, the jacket off my back. So I'm not completely absent of any kind of
compassion. Absolutely. Yep.
But at the same time, these days, it just seems like there's a lot of scams. So I do wonder if Murfreesboro, if they're trying to just get rid of the homeless people, and if you don't feed the homeless people, they'll go away, kind of like the bears. You know what I mean? I don't know. But I'm curious as to how many people in Murfreesboro are still giving to homeless. So, or I should say panhandlers. So, because, they can be incredibly aggressive. They can be incredibly aggressive. And, I'm one of those people. Sorry, folks, I roll up my window. I like to drive with my window rolled down. But when I come upon panhandlers, I just roll up the window and I turn up the radio. Does that make me a bad person? You can be honest, Joan.
No, because I'm sure that like my husband and I, we give to other causes.
Yeah.
It's not as if
I give to the Nashville Rescue Mission.
There you go. I mean, you're obviously a compassionate person and you give in other ways. I don't think that, you're required to give in that moment.
Yeah.
And yes, you use discretion.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I use my discretion. And again, I give to the rescue mission. My wife and I will give to Salvation Army, Goodwill, those kinds of things. So that is what we do. And I have a personal policy these days of not giving to panhandlers because I can't trust them. And I don't necessarily believe that they don't have other options. And I think that when you do that, when you give to panhandlers, then you are not helping them lead to a better life. You're only helping them to buy their next bottle of alcohol, their next 6-pack of beer, whatever it is. And I know that there's people, yelling at their radio right now saying, but Dan, some of these people really do need help. And I'm sorry for that. But there's a lot of places, a lot of state agencies where they can indeed get help if they need it. So anyway, maybe I'll take some calls on that in maybe the 7 or the 8 o'clock hour, because I am curious if there's people that are still, in August of 2025, are people still giving to panhandlers?
Yeah.
I mean, if the city of Murfreesboro, and boy, this is a kind of a loaded question, but why do you give to panhandlers? Does that make you feel better about yourself? Does it make you feel like you're contributing to someone else's life in a positive way? I mean, I can make the argument that if you're giving to a panhandler and it happens to be one of those panhandlers that is using that money for alcohol, then you're not helping them. You're actually hurting them.
Yeah.
So, but you know what? I know that that's a dicey conversation to have because, people are going to say I'm being judgmental. People are going to say that I'm not being compassionate. I'm compassionate. I just show it in other ways. And I don't think that giving a complete stranger, who is using a baby or a dog as a prop, I don't think that is the right way to spend your money. I think if you want to give to an organization, you give to an organization that you believe in, whether it's, like a Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. If you have family members or a loved one with cancer, my son had cancer. We went to Sloan Kettering in New York. I believe I've given to them in the past. I don't remember now. It's been so long. But, give to organizations that you believe in, and give to organizations where you at least hope that the money will be used in a positive way. It is 6:15, time to check the roads on WTN. As far as your weather for today, a high of 87, feeling like 93, mostly sunny. intermittent cloud coverage throughout the day. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News. J.D. Vance, of course, he was in a great mood. And as I said at the end of the last hour, J.D. Vance is on a charm offensive right now. And the reason he is because he has really seemingly been tapped or designated as the heir apparent to the MAGA movement. Now, we've all known that for quite some time. I had a conversation yesterday with you folks about the fact that I did believe, and I was actually surprised at how many of you agreed with me. I believe that Marco Rubio, from a resume standpoint, I think Marco Rubio has the better resume. I mean, he was a senator for many years, and he also is now Secretary of State. And I believe that foreign policy right now is doing really, really well for Donald Trump. But I do believe that J.D. Vance is far more likable, and that is critically important. He visited the National Guard yesterday in Washington, D.C., and he was asked about the polling that shows the people who live in Washington, D.C., don't want the National Guard there. And this is what J.D. Vance had to say.
Polls show that a majority of D.C. residents don't support the Guard here. So what's your message to the majority of D.C. residents?
I'm highly skeptical that a majority of D.C. residents don't want their city to have better public safety and more reasonable safety standards within Washington, D.C. I don't know what poll you're talking about. Maybe the same polls that said Kamala Harris would win the popular vote by 10 points.
If you didn't catch it, what he said was, if you're talking about the same polls and pollsters that said that Kamala Harris was going to win the popular vote by 10 points, he says, I'm not buying the poll. It is just common sense. But yeah, he was there in Washington, D.C., and, he talked about how they are seeing a lot of success. The National Guard is seeing a lot of success. And, for me, that seems to make all the sense in the world that the National Guard is there and they're trying to protect the people of Washington, D.C. And J.D. Vance, he spoke about the success.
In just the past 9 days, we've seen a 35% reduction in violent crime. We've seen over a 50% reduction in robberies. We are seeing really substantial effects because these guys are busting their ass. So I want to come here, highlight what they're doing, say thank you in person, obviously pass out a few burgers, but most of all, just send a message to the American people. Look, we don't have to live like this. We do not have to allow our cities to be taken over by violence and by disorder and by chaos. You can actually do stuff. You can actually bring law and order to communities. You've just got to have the political willpower to do it.
Yeah, and I love what he says. What he's basically saying is, listen, we don't have to live amongst a bunch of criminals. We don't have to allow our streets across America and our cities across America to devolve into nothing but crime. That is a self-inflicted wound. That is a self-inflicted wound that, quite frankly, the Democrats have done to America. And Republicans are tired of it. And I believe that the American people are tired of it as well. This is part of what he says about President Trump and J.D. Vance making our cities safe again.
Actually, the most interesting thing, Laura, was after the cameras left, Pete and Steve and I stayed and, had lunch with these troops and just learned a lot about what they're seeing, about how much the city has changed in just the past 9 days. So crazy statistic, violent crime has dropped in D.C. 35% in 9 days. Robberies in D.C. have dropped 55% in 9 days. And it highlights the fact that this living with lawlessness and disorder, that's fundamentally a question of political will. Yep. If you've got the political will to enforce the law, you can make even cities like D.C. safe again. And that's what we're demonstrating. And I hope that the American people take an important lesson from this, because obviously D.C. is a federal city, New York, L.A., these places are not. I hope the American people just recognize that you don't have to live with lawlessness. You don't have to live with third world murder rates. If you just take control of these cities, you can make them safe places to live in.
That was J.D. Vance on Laura Ingram's show last night. Great appearance. I don't know if you saw any of it, but I've got some more audio for you coming up from that appearance. But he's right. I mean, look at Memphis. And I forget who, I think it was it John Rose, said that the vast majority of crime in Memphis is committed by a relatively speaking, a small group of people. And if you know who they are, lock their butts up and throw away the key. It is a self-inflicted wound, these cities like Memphis. Nashville's not as bad because people always say, why didn't you talk about Nashville? All right, well, Nashville too. But Memphis is by far the bigger issue in Tennessee right now. And so you look at Memphis, and if they know who the criminals are and they're able to get them off the street, it is so simple. It is. Lock up the criminals. It's not that hard. And that's what J.D. Vance is saying. And one of the things that I like is that he is telling the American people, vote Republican, vote conservative, vote for law and order. And so you look at what is going on, for example, in, let's say Oakland, California, San Francisco, California, Los Angeles, California. I could go on and on. You have states that have sanctuary city policies. That's number one. That leads to crime. Everybody knows that. You have states with states overall that are easy on the criminals and soft on crime policies. And then you have Republican states that by and large have Republican and conservative and law and order, laws. But then you've got the local cities like a Memphis or like a Nashville that has Democrats that are running it. And at a local level, the Democrats are allowing crime to skyrocket, even though it is a conservative state. So then you have all these, idiots on social media. Oh, wait a minute. Look, Tennessee has a lot of crime in it, but that's run by a bunch of conservatives. It's because of the Democrats at the local level. So they can try to make that as some sort of a gotcha moment. But in reality, I think the American people are seeing, whether it is at a state level like California or a local level inside of Tennessee, in a place like Memphis, one thing both have in common. They're run by Democrats. And hopefully people are noticing that. That's the point that J.D. Vance is trying to make. Joan Jones is getting ready for the newscast at 6:30. Joan, what you got?
Yeah, we have murder coming up here at the bottom of the hour this morning. The man charged with killing 4 people in West Tennessee, he is speaking out. And a couple of murderers on the West Coast want to get out of jail. We've got both of those stories coming up here at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Your bathroom is one of the biggest selling points when it comes to getting your home sold, and Zentex can help you out with a huge upgrade and a special price and offer just for my listeners. Now, you can upgrade your bathtub into a walk-in shower with grab bars and a bench seat from Zentex. Now, this is going to help the older folks in your life, and a bathtub redesign can make your bathroom look spectacular. Now, a little about Zentex. It is impressive. Family owned and operated for 25 years. Last year, they were voted as one of the best places to work in the construction industry. And this is why I put my trust behind Zentex. Your work is going to be done in a day or less. And that great offer now for my listeners. You mentioned WTN, you get a free Kohler toilet and get $999 off your bathroom project, or enjoy no interest for 2 years. Whatever works best for you. Zentex. You can look at a lot of their work online at their website, examples of what they can do for you. Zintex, Zentex.com. Dan Mandis here for Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. It is back to school time, and that means that Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, they are bringing the buzz with huge savings and sweet giveaways. Now, if you've got septic issues, now is the time to get it fixed. Get 15% off any septic work, main drain lines, or whole home repipes. 15% off. Now, you can upgrade your HVAC system and get entered to win the Healthy Hive giveaway, a $1,500 sponsorship to the local school of your choice. Now, you join the Beehive Club, and you can get a free membership to a local teacher, coach, or faculty member. So you buy one, gift one. It is just that simple. Breathe easier with $100 off indoor air quality products as well. The savings just go on and on. You can call them to get started, 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833. Find them online anytime, busybeehvac.com. .629, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk, 99.7 WTN. And, all right, so coming up, we're going to get to some of your super texts. A lot of people had a lot to say about everything that I've said in the last couple of minutes. Also, some very bad news for Democrats, some great news for J.D. Vance, and it is all straight ahead. Also, coming up in the 7 o'clock hour, we are going to take some calls on whether or not you're still giving to panhandlers. And you may have a very, very good reason to give to panhandlers, and maybe you're judging me right now for not giving to panhandlers anymore, and I haven't for years. City of Murfreesboro, and Joan has been reporting it, asking the folks down in the borough not to give to the panhandlers. Joan, you spend a lot of time out there. Give me a yes or no. Are the panhandlers out there, are they really aggressive?
No, not that I've seen.
Okay, well, maybe there's...
You lived in New York, too. If you were in New York, panhandling is an aggressive sport.
Oh, my goodness.
There's the people who want to clean your windshield. You almost have to, reach your arm out and smack them to get away from your car.
All right, we got a lot more coming up on WTN.
Good morning. It is 6:30, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. The man charged with murdering 4 family members in West Tennessee says he didn't do it. Austin Drummond has given a jailhouse interview to News Channel 5's Nick Barris and claims that he had been an undercover informant for the FBI. Barris asked him if he didn't kill the 4, then who did? And what about that abandoned baby?
Now, Drummond said at this point he's not really ready to answer any of those questions, but we are scheduled to talk again. We'll see what he says. Definitely he knows more. Whether or not you believe anything he says is a complete other matter. And I should say I did speak with the district attorney who said that he is well aware of our conversation with Drummond. It is now recorded, and he said that is now part of the criminal case file.
Now, Drummond is being held without bond, and prosecutors are seeking the death penalty. On the West Coast, a pair of convicted murderers are attempting to get out of prison. The Menendez brothers are set to go in front of a parole board and asked to be released after serving 36 years for the murders of their parents.
By the end of today, Eric Menendez, 36 years after the murders of his parents, will learn if he is granted parole. The hearing today is expected to go for hours. He and his legal team will try to prove he has reinvented himself over the decades and that he is not a threat to the public any longer. If he is granted parole, he will not get out immediately. It will be reviewed by the governor, who could veto his release. Tomorrow, Lyle Menendez will have his parole hearing and will learn if he will be released. Alex Stone, ABC News, San Diego County.
The Texas House of Representatives has passed the GOP-backed change to its congressional map, pretty much assuring that 5 districts will be flipped red. That measure goes to the state Senate this week, and then it's on to Governor Abbott's desk for his signature. That is the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 634, Nashville's Morning News, and I want to tell you about my buddy Dr. Horn and all the folks over there at Vision for Life. Now, like a lot of you, I thought that all vision surgeries were the same. I believed everything was just LASIK, but after doing my research, I learned that Vision for Life, they offer a variety of advanced procedures tailored to each patient's unique needs. Dr. Jeff Horn doesn't just restore your vision. Dr. Horn restores your confidence and your freedom. Freedom from glasses and contacts and those pesky struggles like driving at night or reading small print. Now, I've taken that life-changing step because Vision for Life made that process simple and clear to me, answering all my questions and my concerns, matching me with the perfect procedure. And in my case, that was lens replacement surgery. I've been hesitating. I had been hesitating for years and years, but I went in. They alleviated my concerns. I got the surgery, and I have never been happier. So you ought to check them out. If you're thinking about surgery to improve your eyesight, check them out online. It is visionforlife.com. That is visionforlife.com. 615-436-2020. 615-436-2020.
So we have delays this morning stacking up on 24 westbound starting in the Laverne area. And there's a crash, too, on Murfreesboro Pike in Antioch. This is at Mount View Road. That's looking good so far on 40 heading in, starting to slow down on 65 in the southbound lanes into the Goodlettsville area, and then after the merge with 24 as well. And 65 northbound looks like that's running smoothly so far. Fingers crossed this morning. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.637, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Appreciate you listening, and we have a lot going on this morning. Jonathan Fahey is going to be joining us momentarily. By the way, you can listen and watch anytime. So if you want to listen later on in the day to the 5 o'clock hour, you can. We had a lot of fun in the 5. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Rumble, Twitch, X, and of course, 997WTN.com. Our favorite, of course, is YouTube. So you can watch us anytime. You can listen to us anytime as well. And also don't forget to check me out on the socials at Dan Mandis Show. I'm doing all kinds of videos and reels and everything else, and appreciate when you do that. I'm on Facebook. I'm on X. I'm on Instagram. And I'm also on TikTok. And right now, I'm on with Jonathan Fahey. Jonathan, always great to have you on. Let's talk. There's a lot of things going on. First of all, J.D. Vance seems to be on a charm offensive. I don't know if you've noticed that, but he is on a charm offensive. Yesterday, he was on the streets of Washington, D.C. He was hanging out with the National Guard, and he had a lot of great things to say about what the Trump administration has accomplished. And one of the things, I'm going to replay this audio. Louis, I've got some audio here. This is J.D. Vance, Jonathan, and he's talking about the progress that they have made in Washington, D.C.
In just the past 9 days, we've seen a 35% reduction in violent crime. We've seen over a 50% reduction in robberies. We are seeing really substantial effects because these guys are busting their ass. So I want to come here, highlight what they're doing, say thank you in person, obviously pass out a few burgers, but most of all, just send a message to the American people. Look, we don't have to live like this. We do not have to allow our cities to be taken over by violence and by disorder and by chaos. You can actually do stuff. You can actually bring law and order to communities. You've just got to have the political willpower to do it.
So I want to go down a couple of different paths with you, Jonathan, because you know all about crime, you know all about illegal immigration, a former acting director with ICE under Trump's first administration. But I also want to go down the road of pure politics as well. But first, are you surprised? Are you shocked that you put a bunch of National Guardsmen and women on the streets of Washington, D.C., and suddenly crime goes down?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing to see how much it's gone down. And where he was yesterday at Union Station, the train station in D.C., I was there the night before, and it was noticeably different. There were no homeless people hanging around. No one's bothering you. It's a beautiful building, and you could actually appreciate the beauty of the architecture and all these other things when you normally are just looking to get out of there. And it's amazing. You drive around D.C. right now, the homeless tents are gone. People are out and about, and I noticed that also at night. There are more people that just seem to be out there walking. The criminals are scared or getting locked up. I mean, the only thing, you have to worry about is just the angry Democrats. But other than that, if you're in Nashville, this would be a good time to come to Washington, D.C., because there's a lot to see here, but it's amazing just in a week or 9 days how much it's gotten better and how quickly it has. And, they talk about this, Stephen Miller was talking about this, like the city, it has always been catering to the people the criminals, the homeless, all these people, as opposed to the citizens that pay the taxes and do everything, the law-abiding people. And it's about time the law-abiding people get a chance to appreciate the city, go out safely, be comfortable in their own city. And it's incredible how quickly it's changed, and hopefully it will stay this way or stay better, because D.C. has been an unsafe, and quite honestly, Donald Trump talks about this a lot. It's been a dirty city. It's been just sort of like for a nation's capital, it's really a disgrace. And it's like it should be a shining city for the world to see, for the rest of the country to see, and not just some, filthy, crime-infested, place where, that run by Democrats.
Do you think, Jonathan Fahey, do you think that the folks on the left will see, wow, you put law enforcement on the street and suddenly the streets are walkable and maybe businesses will come back? Or do you think that because they are so infused with Trump derangement syndrome, I think this is another 80-20 issue. I mean, if not worse for the Democrats. I mean, I say 80-20, that's almost a catchphrase at this point. But I would say maybe even 90-10, that the American people want safety and security. So do you think this will begin a trend where when people see not only what happened in Washington, D.C. with the National Guard, but remember what happened in San Francisco when they cleaned up San Francisco because the president of China was coming to that city, and they cleaned it up in like a day. So the answers are right there. For whatever reason, the Democrats, they're too stupid or stubborn not to do what they need to do for the people of their state and their city, which is to take care of the taxpayers and get rid of the vagrants.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. Now, I really do think a lot of the Democrats are actually quite happy about this. They will never even answer to a poll that's in any way supportive of Donald Trump. But I think in reality, when people are walking around, getting off a train, if they could walk down the street and not feel like they might be attacked or harassed by a homeless person or something like that, they're happy about this. And people have been sick of this for too long. And you're right, with the San Francisco, it's such a great example, because on one hand, we're told, oh, we can't do anything about these problems. They're so complicated, and, it takes all of this money. But when it really matters, they can be dealt with and dealt with quickly. And everyone else, not everyone, but most people's lives are substantially better. But I hope it does carry over. But, you see what's going on in New York, and they're going a different direction, it seems like. But I think a lot of places will see this, and hey, would people make a choice where to live, where to visit? They walk. You see what they actually do, and that's why places like where you are in Nashville, people are moving there because it's a better quality of life. And I think people will be moving out of New York and moving to places that are safer and better. And, hopefully, however that works out, maybe it's hard to get people to change their voting patterns, but they certainly will change their living patterns and move to the places that are safer and better.
All right, real quick, coming up, we're going to talk about Mayor Wu in Boston and also J.D. Vance and his charm offensive, and what in the world is going on with the Democrat Party. Going to try to get to all of this in my conversation with Jonathan Fahey. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News. 6:45, time to check the roads. As far as your weather for today, it's going to be nicer. A high of 87, feeling like 93. Mostly sunny, intermittent cloud coverage throughout the day. Thanks for listening. All right, so Jonathan Fahey in Boston. The headline is ICE director vows to flood Boston after Mayor Wu's refusal to strip sanctuary protections. You know, the good people of Boston, and I mean that with all due respect, but they're getting what they voted for.
Yeah, you're exactly right. They vote for these, I don't want to say lunatics, but kind of lunatics, or people with crazy policies, or their whole policy is just defying Donald Trump and open borders and everything else. But, if you watch her press conference, I think it was 2 days ago, she talked, basically we're standing up for the people of Boston or whatever. Everything about what she said and has done is so dishonest and so cynical, because she's actually standing up for the people that aren't even citizens of the United States. She's standing up for criminals. But the Democrats play this trick, and you see it a lot here where there's up in D.C. where there's a lot of illegal immigration. They mischaracterize what ICE is doing and try to create fear in the immigrant community, and then portray themselves as heroic to standing up to this fear that really shouldn't exist to begin with, because what they do in Boston is prevent criminals from being turned over to ICE, and they won't even yield on that. And you see Bill Malugin reports on this, or he'll tweet about it on Twitter, on X, shows the criminal records of the people that they will not turn over to ICE, and they're sex offenders, violent criminals, and stuff like that. But what she's doing, she's also putting the workers of Boston in danger and criminal jeopardy, because she's encouraging them to break the law, encouraging them to obstruct justice. Their sanctuary city policies are really what's called alien harboring. So it's self-serving for her, because in the Democratic Party now you have to be full-on open borders and full-on anti-Trump. So she's elevating herself, but letting the citizens of Boston and other municipal workers suffer, for her benefit. It's so cynical, it's so dishonest, but we see it all the time.
So the headline is Democrats facing crisis as more than 2 million voters have left the party in for years. They say that the Democrat Party, this is from the New York Times, by the way, is bleeding registered voters, suffering a 4.5 million name loss that could take years to recover from, according to a new report. And I'll get into some of the other details coming up. But do you think that is because of the insane policies that they've embraced over the last 4 years?
Yes, I think it's the insane policies like full-on open borders, which they used to not before. Men getting to play in women's sports and sharing locker rooms with little girls. Most people think that's out of line. But I also think they've become lazy to the extent that all they do is oppose Donald Trump. So it's easy to kind of do that and rallies up your base. But I think the average person, one, it's kind of boring at this point, but also they don't see anything. There's no affirmative point to vote for a Democrat generally. Are they going to make you wealthier, safer, like we just talked about, or anything else? And I don't think anyone could really answer that, the answer is yes, or they don't even seem to be trying to do that. And, the old Democratic Party, I would have criticized them before, but they did have things they seemed to believe in, and they did seem to care about the middle class workers' wages and things like that. And they stopped caring about that when they embraced this full-on open border strategy, which crushes the middle class. So, but I think they're just lost, and they're lazy, and they don't know what to do. So all they do is rant and rave and oppose Donald Trump. And all Donald Trump does is enact the policies he ran on. And that's actually a good quality. They don't want to admit that, but all he's doing is doing things he said he was going to do, and he's getting them done. And all they do is oppose that. They should have an affirmative agenda, but they can't agree on one is probably the issue.
Well, yeah, and you've got that Mandami in New York running for mayor, and dude is all over the place. And I think for a lot of Republicans, please, you go right on ahead and you let that guy, that socialist, that communist, whatever it is that you want to call him, you let him be the face of the Democrat Party. Go right on ahead. All right, real quick. J.D. Vance, Charm Offensive. So we have all of these the polls out there and a lot of conversations amongst Republicans that J.D. Vance is the heir apparent to MAGA. He was on Laura Ingraham last night. He was part of the conversations with Zelensky and Vladimir Putin. And, of course, he was on the streets of Washington, D.C. yesterday. Great photo opportunity with the National Guard. So it does seem like the Trump administration has anointed him really as the one to carry on that mantle. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it does seem like he's out there a lot. He's certainly, doing these things like yesterday, sort of not only promoting policies, but also sort of, I think it does humanize him. And I think, you see this thing shaping out in three and a half years or 3 years that, a Vance versus Newsom. And, I kind of look at it like J.D. Vance is sort of all substance and Newsom is all, I don't even want to say style, but all lack of substance. And it's kind of interesting to watch that. But yeah, I do think right now it looks like he's in a very strong position and seems to be out there. And he does a great job, if you really think about it, not only carrying the message, but really talking effectively on these issues in a serious way, not just this, generic platitudinal politician type of way. And I think it's very refreshing when you actually listen to him answer questions because you actually learn about him and learn about policy.
Well, Gavin Newsom, of course, he's doing all of this, mocking, mimicking, trolling of Donald Trump and the Trump administration. And a lot of people are looking at what Newsom is doing, and they're sort of face-palming on the socials, of course. But here's the thing. Gavin Newsom, and I don't know if you believe the polls or not, but at least if you believe the polling, he is going up since he started getting really aggressive against Donald Trump. And so I think part of the conversation has to be, is Newsom really helping himself with these attacks on the Trump administration, or is he just embarrassing himself? And I guess, give me your 30 seconds on that, then we got to run.
The answer is both. He helps himself within the Democratic Party. He embarrasses himself more broadly because it just seems like these Democrats, which, sort of a party of resentment, they all actually just want to be Donald Trump or be Donald Trump's friend, and they're sort of the rejected kids in the corner. But, yeah, I think it helps him within that party, but ultimately it just seems foolish, and it's pretty dorky, a lot of the stuff he's putting out there.
Well, it is, and I think that he's coming off, to be perfectly candid, number one, lack of substance. And the reason for Gavin Newsom, the reason he can't go substance is because he's got nothing to sell. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's never had it.
Yeah. California, it's worst in homelessness. It is worst in unemployment. Of course, we all know about the crime and everything else. And so he doesn't have a lot to sell as far as substance goes. So here he is now doing whatever he can to take the focus off of his performance as governor, and he's trying to make it all about behavior. And at least for me, I think that is going to be something that may ultimately lead to his peril, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. All right, Jonathan Fahey, how can people follow you on Twitter?
John for Fairfax. And what's the promotion this week? Can we try Kid Rock at your birthday party? Or you know him as Bob, right?
I know Kid Rock is Bob, and he knows me as Stalker, but we'll try and see if we can work that out. So,
of course, we're kidding for the lawyers, but John for Fairfax.
All right, thank you, and we'll talk to you again probably next week. Jonathan Fahey, always great to have him on. It is 6:53, and Joan Jones is in the WTN newsroom. Hey, Joan.
Hey there. So an Antioch restaurant owner's restaurant has been destroyed after somebody put their car in the wrong gear. Got that story. Also, the man known for being the compassionate judge has died. Those stories and more here at 7 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Dan here for my friends at DT McCall's, a great Tennessee company that is here for their fellow Tennesseans with great prices, selection, and value. And listen, when you decide where you're going to buy furniture, where you are going to buy appliances, Go to a place that loves America and loves the state of Tennessee. That is D.T. McCall's, by the way. They're also fans of WTN. So I've been telling you about these folks for a long time now. They've been helping people out for 3 generations here in Tennessee. And if you need it, they've got it. Indoor furniture. If you've got a room to fill, go to D.T. McCall's. If you've got a need for an appliance or 2, if it plugs in, they've got it as well. And they've always got specials going on to save you money. Go to the front page of their website. It is dtmccalls.com. They've got all kinds of specials, great prices, great selection on the best brands of appliances and furniture. dtmccalls.com. They've been doing this for 100 years with a focus on customer service. And if you buy it, they will deliver it for free and haul away the old stuff. 5 locations across Middle Tennessee, Carthage, Cookeville, Lebanon, Lafayette, and Franklin. Always online, dtmccalls.com. Dan Mandis here for Loan Pronto. Are you trapped in a high-rate mortgage, watching your hard-earned money vanish every month? Well, stop doing that right now. At Loan Pronto, they're delivering the lowest mortgage rates in 3 years. That's right. Loan Pronto's rate reduction home loan program is a streamlined, low-cost way to slash your house payments by hundreds of dollars every single month. Lock in a fixed rate right now as low as 4.99% APR and close in as little as 2 weeks. No appraisal is needed in most cases, and here is the kicker. You can skip your next 2 house payments entirely. So don't wait. Rates this low won't last long. Call Loan Pronto right now for your free, no-obligation quote. Loan Pronto, of course, is amazing. Imagine lower payments, more money in your pocket, and a fresh start with a better mortgage. Call 615-499-5780 or find them online anytime. It is loanpronto.com to lock in your new low rate and skip those next 2 payments. Don't let high rates hold you back. Call them 615-499-5780, 615-499-5780. Find them online anytime. It is loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org. .659 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Appreciate you listening. And boy, the super text line is
rocking,
incredibly active today,
yes,
as a matter of fact. Let's see here. 9901, point of personal privilege, if I may. Dan, thank you for the dedication to your craft and for being a voice of truth and sanity. Thank you.
That's nice.
It is. I don't know if my wife would agree, though. At least on the sanity part. Anyway. Watch us anywhere and everywhere if you can, and that is on YouTube. By the way, we're showing videos now. We got that fixed. So we are live every weekday, Facebook, Rumble, Twitch, X, 997, WTN.com, and, of course, YouTube. Usually these days we do have video to go along with the audio that you hear on the radio. And follow me on the socials, if you would, at Dan Mandis Show. Got a lot more straight ahead. It is Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It's now 7 o'clock. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Hurricane Erin is moving closer now to North Carolina's Outer Banks, where conditions are expected to deteriorate more throughout the day. This is now a Category 2 storm, and it's creating dangerous surf up and down the East Coast. ABC's Victor Akendo is in Kill Devil Hills, North Carolina, on the Outer Banks.
A combination that has had officials so concerned here. High tide mixed with high surf that could lead to the overwash that floods the roads. Officials have closed down portions of Highway 12. That is the main road here in the Outer Banks that we have been talking about all week long that tends to flood during a storm. That's something we'll be watching very closely as Erin impacts the Outer Banks.
Now, at the moment, winds are near 40 miles an hour and waves at about 12 to 15 feet. A fiery late-night crash has left an Antioch restaurant owner heartbroken. Sam Zero says, the owner there says that a customer had just picked up their order when they accidentally put the car in reverse and shattered the front window, sparked a fire, too.
There's a lot missing, a lot damage for all the store. See how the counter is, all the TV doesn't work, and it's a lot damage in there, and it smell. I feel very, very, very sad about that happening to my business.
No, nobody was hurt, fortunately. It's unclear if the driver is going to face any charges. Sam Zero will be closed now until repairs are made. Parents are expected to show up in force at the next school board meeting in Lawrence County over a new policy stating that a doctor's note is no longer accepted for absences unless it's tied to a chronic illness, family emergency, or some other exceptions.
Ultimately, I'm going to do what's right for my kid, regardless of this policy. I've never been for or against homeschool, but because of this new policy, it has definitely changed my mind.
After 3 absences, interventions begin. The school board meeting, by the way, is tonight. And the man known as the compassionate courtroom judge, whose rulings changed the lives of so many people for the better, has died. Rhode Island Judge Frank Caprio suffered with pancreatic cancer. He was 88 years old.
For 40 years, Judge Frank Caprio would hear cases from his Providence, Rhode Island bench, along the way earning the reputation as America's nicest judge.
Based on the 0.3 of a second, the matter is dismissed.
There was the little boy right next to him at the bench, asked about his dad's traffic ticket.
Guilty or not guilty? What do you say?
Guilty.
Guilty.
In later years, his hit TV show, Caught in Providence, put his humor and heart on full display.
That's ABC's Mary Bruce reporting. Market numbers report now brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. The Dow futures minus 156 right now. NASDAQ futures falling 43. And we've got the S&P futures down 16. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Okay, quite a few spots in trouble this morning. So in Kingston Springs, 40, the eastbound side between Kingston Springs, Ashland City, that's 188, and Bellevue, 196. There's stop-and-go traffic this morning and an accident and some construction in that spot as well. Laverne, Murfreesboro Pike, westbound side at Waldron Road, a crash has been reported. In Goodlettsville, Vietnam Veterans Boulevard westbound before I-65. Watch for that crash this morning as well. Very slow on 65 northbound until you get to the 840 area this morning. It's just heavy volume there. A crash as well in Murfreesboro at Jefferson Pike, westbound before I-840. Antioch, a crash Murfreesboro Pike at Mount View Road. And one more here in Woodbine. It's a crash involving injuries on Nolensville Pike at Thompson Lane. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.707 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Welcome on in to a Thursday. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News and Super Talk 99.7. Joan, we're talking earlier about the homeless folks.
Yeah.
Or panhandlers, I should say. I keep mixing those up in Murfreesboro.
Yeah.
So, and how the Murfreesboro, is it the politicians or the police or who is it that's asking?
Well, it's actually, it's a law in Murfreesboro not to panhandle. People do it anyway.
So what do? Do they find people that that give to the panhandlers? I mean, isn't that somebody's right to, if they want to give?
If they want to give, yeah. Well, if it's a law, no, it's not a right. You know?
Yeah. Okay. Because it does lead to more panhandling.
Right. It encourages more people to do it. So the effort by, and I think this is like the city council, is, hey, get people to go to the homeless shelters or to the food banks and pick up food and find shelter so that you're still helping. You can go to the shelters and you can go to the food bank and help.
Yep.
And that way it directs people to those sources instead of standing out on the street and panhandling.
So I want to take some phone calls this morning. It's been a while since I've been able to take some phone calls, and I'm not going to say it's a slow news day, but it's a good day for it. So the phone number is 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. Number one, how bad? I'm never in Murfreesboro. So how bad is the panhandling in Murfreesboro? Has that law, which I don't know, how long has that law been in place? I don't even know.
Good question.
So, but apparently, if they have to remind people not to give to the panhandlers, then it's obviously not something that is working because there's still panhandlers out there. Because you get the people who are giving to panhandlers, you get them to stop, and the panhandlers are just going to go away. And so that's number one. Number two is, do you folks trust panhandlers at this point? Because I got to tell you, for me, and we were talking about this, way earlier in the show, I just don't trust panhandlers. I simply don't. But I'm curious as to, you know how they do online, Joan, am I the a-hole? Do you know that whole thing?
No.
Okay, so there's this whole thing online where you go to, and I don't know the details, but I know that I've seen it before, and people ask, I'll clean this up for the radio. Am I the jerk? So I was sort of driving in this morning and thinking about this story because I saw it. And I thought, am I the jerk for not trusting panhandlers? Is it just me? It's almost like, you know what we ought to do, Joan? We ought to do a segment called Is It Just Me? Where we ask ourselves, is it just me where I think that people are absolutely dumb for giving to panhandlers? And then I think, okay, well, maybe that is just me. And maybe people are judging me for not trusting panhandlers. But the difference, of course, is that I talk about it on the radio. So I don't know. But I don't think it's just me. I generally speaking, I don't think people trust panhandlers. And I am also wondering what is going on in Murfreesboro that the panhandling is so bad. And I'd also ask you, Murfreesboroans, and we got one coming in at 9.
Borough residents.
Borough residents.
Yeah.
Has the panhandling gotten worse or better since they passed this law?
So the law was passed in 2016.
Okay.
So it's been law for a while.
Yeah, 9 years.
The law says that you can't panhandle from vehicles, citing safety concerns. Also restricted aggressive panhandling, so soliciting from specific locations like at ATMs, drive-thrus, outdoor dining areas, or within 25 feet of a crosswalk.
Yep.
And then this campaign that they have right now is called Better Way to Give. So it encourages residents to donate to local charities that provide services.
Yeah.
They suggest the Salvation Army or the Journey Home. And there's a QR code on the signs so that you can use your cell phone, hit that QR code, and give right there.
I can imagine that panhandling has taken a hit because nobody has cash anymore either.
Yeah.
Right?
That is an issue for me when I see someone.
I'd be willing to bet that there's like these panhandlers that have Cash App.
Yeah.
Right? Matthew's on the road on line 1. Matthew, what do you think about all that?
Well, Dan, I agree with everything you say about panhandling. My 2 cents for this is panhandling is solicitation by law. Solicitation is First Amendment protected activity under the Constitution. There are municipalities and cities that make laws that go against it, but they will lose in court every time. So what these people are doing is protected First Amendment speech, and Murfreesboro can have all the laws they want, but in court it will never hold up.
Interesting. So, but it is up to the people then to decide, and they're in Murfreesboro, if they want to give to the panhandlers, despite the law, and despite the panhandlers' right, as you say, to ask for money. Do you give to panhandlers? Was there a time when you gave to panhandlers and then you stopped?
Well, so I drive a big truck, and when they see this beautiful mug, they choose not to ask.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, hey, us ugly guys, we don't have to worry about being approached too often.
Yeah, preach it, brother. I'm right there with you. I'm right there. Jerry's in Lebanon on WTN. Hey, Jerry. Jerry, go ahead. All right, apparently Jerry's
not there.
Jerry's not there, which is fine because we got
Hello.
Phil. Hey, Phil, you are in, is it Lexington, Kentucky?
Tennessee.
Okay, very good, Phil. Thanks for calling. Is there Lexington, Tennessee? Is there really? Okay, my bad. Been here almost 12 years. I had no idea. Did you? Oh, Joan.
Oh, come on.
You're over there scoffing and mocking
And
me.
I
Did
had
you know
no
there was-
idea either. No.
Thank you, Joan. All right, Phil, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for coming my call. Quick funny story about panhandling. I used to manage a restaurant in West End. You know, West End is really bad about panhandlers. Well, you know, everybody, when they get out of church on Sundays, they feel good about themselves and everything. And, well, these panhandlers would come in the restaurant, I'd have to kick them out because they'd be asking people for money. Well, so this family had been there eating, and I was kicking this panhandler out, asking people for money. And the family said, well, we'll buy him some food. Let me buy you some food. So they placed his order, and they bought him some food, and then the family went on out the door, and they were happy, and they did the good thing and everything. So when the guy's food got ready, he gave me his receipt, said, I want my money back.
Oh.
Wow.
So he didn't want the food. I just took his ticket to get out of here.
Well, and you know what, Phil, and appreciate the call. That is just like Joan, my story about when I gave my leftovers to that dude, and he threw it back at me and yelled at me.
Yeah.
You know? So
Somebody else made a really good point on the super text line that I see this a lot in the Murfreesboro city chat and in the Manchester city chat. The people panhandle on the chat as well. They'll say, hey, I just moved here. I lost my job. My kids need food. I need a little help. Can anybody donate some money to me?
Yeah.
I see it all the time.
Do you give to those people?
No. No, I
don't either.
A lot of people, I read them, and people will do like nice things, like say, "Here's where this church is opening their, they open their food banks on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yep.
Go here if you need something."
If it's somebody that I know, I don't want my friends to start hitting me up for money, but if it's somebody that I know and that I trust that needs some money, then I will lend them money. But like some complete stranger, absolutely not. I got a couple more calls. 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. Time to check the roads. As far as your weather for today, a high of 87, feeling like 93, mostly sunny, intermittent cloud coverage throughout the day. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on WTN. The super text line is absolutely exploding. John says, in our opinion, a lot of panhandlers are simply con artists. Here's one from Sharon. She says, I live in the borough. Panhandling still goes on all the time. 0550 says most cities have ordinances against panhandling. Nashville does. Well, then why do we see them all the time? I'm no expert on panhandling, but I mean, clearly, if there's ordinances against it, the police aren't doing anything because I would imagine it's almost like, why bother? Because, it's certainly in Nashville, they're not going to charge them with any kind of a crime. Andy's in Sumner County on WTN. Hey, Andy.
Hey there.
Hey, man, go ahead.
So John Stossel actually did a piece on panhandling in Salt Lake several years ago, and he highlighted how a lot of those people actually make a really good living doing it.
Tax-free.
They have nice clothes.
Oh, that's a great point. Andy Jones just said tax-free as well.
Yeah. I used to live in Utah County, and I'd see people on the corner, and what they do is they would all come out of their house, pile into a car, and someone would take them around town and drop them off. And they'd do their panhandling, and then they'd all get back together in their car and go home for the day.
That's what they do. And yeah, oftentimes they'll have a better car than you do. Thank you, Andy, for the call. I appreciate it. This is Michelle in Clarksville on WTN. Hey, Michelle, how are you?
Hi. So panhandling is a form of violence in my opinion. It's a form of violence. They are trying to intimidate the citizens and thinking that they can just intimidate you to go after your cash money. And that's why I see why there's a law against it, that they're trying to intimidate the citizens to give them their lunch money. And it's violent, yeah. It's and that's why when I'm approached or when I don't even speak to them. So it's a form of violence, in my opinion.
So
that's all I have.
All right,
go ahead.
I'm trying to figure out. So you say it's a form of violence. I've seen real violence and panhandling. I don't think it's violence. How do you connect the dots there?
Okay, so if somebody approaches me and tells me that they can I lend them $5 or something like that, I don't find that. I was born in Los Angeles, and I was raised most of my life in Los Angeles. I do live here in Tennessee now, but in California, a big problem was in the schools there is that they try to push you around for your lunch money.
Right.
And a lot of schools, they have big problems with that. So it's still, so to my memory, it still comes around as if someone needs help, they should work it out.
Right.
But approaching another person, I look at that as it's the beginning of being violent.
All right, Michelle, thank you very much. I'm not going to go that far, but I'm a dude. I don't know. Joan, do you think panhandling is violence? I'm trying to figure out where she's going there because, and Michelle, I mean, clearly she's listening to us. And so I would hope anyway that she's conservative. That's a very lefty thing to say. Remember how, the Democrats will always say, oh, silence is violence and all that stupid, like everything is violent to them. So I can't go that far with you, Michelle, but I do appreciate the call.
But it does, I think, have the sniff of being able to go that way.
Intimidation.
Intimidation,
She
yes.
was right about that.
Yep.
But intimidation again. But see, I'm at a disadvantage because I'm not intimidated by the panhandlers. I'm just not. But I can see how other people would be, and I don't mean to sound sexist, but I do understand how a woman would feel intimidated by, and men, by a panhandler because you don't know what they're going to do.
Yes.
Maybe I need to be more intimidated by panhandlers, Joe. Now that the suggestion has been made, this is Ralph in Las Casas on WTN. Hey, Ralph,
Hey,
go
morning,
ahead.
Dan.
Hey, how are you?
Yeah, listen, I'm doing good. We live just outside Murfreesboro. We do all of our shopping in Murfreesboro. I'll be honest, I don't see a lot of panhandling in the areas that we're in. We hit most of the major roads, Broad Street, Old Ford, Church, Medical Center Parkway, most of the main drags, and I just don't see it happening a lot.
Last time I was in Murfreesboro, I had a meeting there a couple weeks ago, I think, and I did see a panhandler, but only one. But maybe that means that the law is working. I know that, guys. I know the phones are going crazy. I got one more call. This is Cameron on WTN in the borough. Hey, Cameron. So how bad is the panhandling there in Murfreesboro?
The panhandling is not bad. It's the homeless that Nashville keeps sending down to us by bus because they keep running out of room up there. That's the issue.
Say that hold on. Say that one more time.
And Nashville's been busing homeless people from Nashville down here to Murfreesboro.
They have
and just dropping them off.
Yep, just like I covered that story a while ago.
Oh, really? This is a true story?
A true story, Joan.
Oh,
That's what Nashville does. Yeah. And
most of the time, those people, if you see them out on the street, I'll stop in, if it's going grocery shopping, get crackers or waters or whatnot, give that to them. They'll take that, no problem. They're happy to receive whatever help you can give them. I've even offered some of them jobs, and I've heard from those companies that they're now working there and doing great.
Oh, good.
So, I mean, I don't really see too much panhandling going on at Murfreesboro. It's more just homeless, needing a little bit of help.
All right, Cameron, thank you very much. I do appreciate it. And 723, people are commenting on the panhandling as violence thing on the super text line.
Yeah.
Jean says, California, shocker. Because she said that she was from California. I'm from California too, people. And I wasn't on board with her, but that's okay. That's okay. It's, I don't know. I can't go there with her, and I don't want to sound insulting to the caller, but I have seen real violence. I think we've all seen real violence, and panhandling ain't it for me. But, Joan said you can kind of see where she's going. So that's all fine, well and good. It is 724 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. That's it for calls for now. But you know what? A Murfreesboroan is going to be in here at 9 o'clock. I wonder if Chris Hand has anything to say about this.
Maybe he's, we, of course, that we go to the same church. And when I go to church on Sundays, there is the same man on the same corner every Sunday. And he has a scooter, I guess, like an electric chair scooter. And he stays on the corner. And, every morning he knows, I think, that everybody's headed to church on that exit of 24.
All the churchgoers going to start giving a bunch of money. Is that what he thinks?
Yep. And they do.
Do they?
I watch everybody, and we do the same.
Listen, if you want to give to panhandlers, I'm not judging. Just don't judge me for not giving to panhandlers.
Yep.
Alrighty, it's 7:25. Joan, what's coming up in the news at 7:30?
Well, we'll tell you what an accused killer has to say about the case against him. This is Austin Drummond we're talking about. Also, we're going to take a look at those no panhandling signs that are popping up in Murfreesboro. All of that and more at 7:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Dan Mandis here for my friends at Contours. Listen, if you are not real comfortable with how you look in a bathing suit, Contours, they can help you. You know, their tagline is all you've got to lose is inches. And that is certainly true. You know, most people that go through the Belly Buster special from Contours, utilizing their red light technology, cutting edge red light technology, it is unique, it is effective. Most folks do lose at least a couple of inches across the middle. You will as well. So when they say all you've got to lose is inches, it is absolute truth. Now, if you want to call this number right now, 615-236-9960, they are actually offering a huge discount on those Belly Buster specials. The first 10 callers, as a matter of fact, you call that number, you get that for $99. That's right, the first 10 callers. Again, most people losing a couple of inches across the middle, taking advantage of their red light technology. It is very unique. It is effective, and people have been coming from all across Middle Tennessee to check them out at Contours. Now, go to their website and see how their Belly Buster therapy featuring red light technology actually works. It is cutting edge and fascinating as well. So call this phone number right now to get a Belly Buster special for $99, 615-236-9960. Find them online and see how it all works. ContoursLLC.com. That's ContoursLLC.com. 615-236-9960. For Contours, all you've got to lose is inches. Dan Mandis here from Mark Spain Real Estate. Listen, if you have found your dream home, but it's taking you a while to sell your current home, call Mark Spain Real Estate. They can help you avoid the stress of listing your home on the market and sell your home fast for all cash with the guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. Now, I always recommend Mark Spain Real Estate to my Nashville friends and family because I know that they're going to sell your home hassle-free and with a strong all-cash offer. You know, the Wall Street Journal and Real Trends both have consistently named Mark Spain Real Estate as the top real estate team in the U.S. for closed transactions for 9 years in a row, including being ranked the #1 real estate team in America for 5 consecutive years. That is huge. They've also been ranked on the Inc. 5000 list of the fastest growing companies in America for now the 8th year in a row. One of the reasons is that they respond fast, and they really are one of the most experienced, if not the most experienced real estate team in America, and certainly in Nashville. Find them online and get your guaranteed all-cash offer today. There's no obligation. That is markspain.com, 855-299-SOLD, 855-299-SOLD, that website. One more time, check them out. Tell them Dan told you to reach out. It is markspain.com, and start packing.
Good morning. Now 7:31. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. For the first time since his capture, the man charged with killing 4 family members in West Tennessee is speaking out. News Channel 5's Nick Barris has an exclusive interview with Austin Drummond from his jail cell in Obion County.
He says he did not kill the 4 victims. Drummond confirmed he did become a member of the Vice Lord Singh during a prior prison stint. Once he got out, he said he was approached by prosecutors and then became a confidential informant for months, assisting authorities, including the FBI, undercover to help crack down on drug smuggling into jails and prisons, helping to arrest dealers, crooked cops, and gang member leadership. Then in recent weeks, in late July, he says he was notified that his cover was blown. And then the 4 people were murdered and he ran. Now, Drummond admits he did wrong by running, but he said he was simply scared. Now, he says he is innocent and had no reason to kill the 4 individuals, all of whom he said he considered to be family.
Now, next up for Drummond is a preliminary hearing on that case. It'll happen in early September. Some new signs that are popping up around Murfreesboro. We've been talking about this. They ask you to say no to panhandling downtown.
The signs ask people to, quote, please say no to panhandling. It also has that QR code there that you can scan. That'll direct you to local charities that offer resources like food assistance, places to stay, medical care, counseling, and even some job opportunities for the homeless. The city says panhandling is not only illegal in Murfreesboro, it can also be dangerous, and we know it can hold up traffic.
That's Channel 4's Lydia Fielder reporting. Stock futures this morning are taking a tumble here. The Dow futures down 194 right now. NASDAQ futures minus 86. S&P futures, they're down 24. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 7:34 on Super Talk. Dan Mandis here with a question for you. If your roof was destroyed in a storm, how much of that replacement cost would your insurance company cover? Now, if you don't know, you really do need to ask, because some insurance companies, they refuse to pay full replacement cost. They're going to deduct money for an older roof. That means that the insurance company is depreciating how much they pay for your roof claim. They're going to rip you off. If you've got an older roof, they're going to pay you less. That could leave you on the hook for thousands of dollars. Now, my friends at King & Associates Insurance, they will pay full replacement cost. They are looking to help you and protect you. So whether you have to replace a 10-year-old roof or a 2-year-old roof, they will pay for it to be replaced, period. It is that kind of focus on customer service that makes King & Associates Insurance one of the best insurance companies around. So call them, tell them Dan told you to reach out, 615-329-8121, 615-329-8121. Get your royal review at tkinginsurance.com.
Okay, right out of B&A on I-40 westbound Briley Parkway, there's a crash, and it's taking out 2 left lanes. Careful in that area. Laverne, Murfreesboro Pike westbound side past Waldron Road. That's the scene of another crash. And also in Murfreesboro, Jefferson Pike westbound before I-840. That's a crash as well. They're still working that crash in Woodbine. This one's on Nolensville Pike at Thompson Lane. Very slow this morning as you're making your way in on 65 northbound, stretching all the way back to Spring Hill. And you do also have delays on both 24 and 65 heading in from the north. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Follow me on X at Dan Mandis Show. You can also follow me on all the socials. This has been tweeted out. Listen to this, because I think it's a very legitimate question. Tennessee National Guard troops are heading to D.C. to help fight crime. Meanwhile, Memphians are living in a war zone, the homicide capital of the nation, according to FBI Director Kash Patel. That is Governor Bill Lee giving Memphis a great big middle finger. Do you know, it is a valid conversation, is it not? I mean, listen, there are people that are listening right now, and I'm actually one of them talking right now, where I wouldn't go to Memphis if my life depended on it, because my life depends on it. I mean, they got a great, minor league baseball stadium there, and probably a Graceland, of course. And, I think that's a valid question. Would Governor Lee ever, consider sending the National Guard to Memphis? Oh, the hue and cry. Can you imagine? I mean, you would have Afton Bain, and you would have, John Ray Clemens. You'd have all of these bleeding heart liberals, all of these progressives. All of these folks would start screaming, "Oh, Memphis is totally black, and you're sending the National Guard out. Oh, it's the murder capital of the world." So if you want people to stop dying, maybe that is what we should do, is send in that National Guard. And I get it that is not going to happen. I mean, I do understand that. But, I I think this is Todd Stearns that tweeted it. I love what he has to say. And luckily, you know, we don't live in Memphis. We live in Nashville. But I do still care greatly about my state of Tennessee. So we're going to put up a Daily Dan poll. And Joan, I have a feeling this is going to be one of those Daily Dan polls that is lopsided.
Mm-hmm.
So I've told Louis to put up a Daily Dan poll. Should Governor Bill Lee send the National Guard, the Tennessee National Guard, to Memphis to help fight crime there?
Yeah.
Because look at what it's doing
that's a
for...
good question. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, look what it's doing for Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been talking about that all morning long. So I think that is, you know, a great point. And again, I don't think Bill Lee has the testicular fortitude to do that. But boy, Adler, I'd sure like to see him do it. Because, you know, I should say Memphis, they've got the same problems in Memphis that they do in Washington, D.C. You got roving gangs of young kids that are carjacking cars. You got the robberies. You got the murder rate. I mean, it's all there. The same problems are in Memphis and Washington, D.C. So why would our Tennessee National Guard go to Washington, D.C. when they could be fixing our own backyard? So, you know, I sure wouldn't mind it. I'd be willing to bet the good people of Memphis, the ones that are law-abiding citizens, I believe that they as well would not mind it because they are living in a war zone. And I think I must have said this here in the last couple of days, but, you know, you always talk about, and the people on the left are always saying that it's racist. Well, you know, with the National Guard going to Washington, D.C., you know, Donald Trump is being racist for trying to take over an American city. And it is so nonsensical. The argument that they make is so nonsensical because what Donald Trump is trying to do is save lives. And based on the neighborhoods we're talking about, there's a lot of black folks in those neighborhoods where the crime is really bad. So Trump sending in the National Guard, Tennessee and West Virginia and others, is literally saving black lives. But somehow it is racist for the president to send the National Guard in. I mean, that makes no sense whatsoever. That's why, and I loved what J.D. Vance said earlier, and I played the audio for you, where, you know what? Look at all the crime that's going down there in Washington, D.C. The results have been amazing in Washington, D.C. We're talking about that earlier. And he talked about, J.D. Vance did, he talked about how a politician has to have, you know, a lot of guts, the political wherewithal to be able to stand up to the criticism of, oh, you're racist for sending the National Guard into a mostly black city. And I get that the liberals and the progressives out there, I get that they can't really think straight because they don't have a lot of common sense. But can somebody please explain to me how trying to save lives, especially black lives, by sending the National Guard in where the murder rate is incredibly high, how is that racist? I mean, I'll answer for all of us, it's not. But remember with the Democrats, remember that they always have to have a problem that they need to solve. Otherwise, they have no reason to exist, right? In other words, do you really think that the Democrats want to fix the schools? No, they don't. Because they need something to complain about. They need something to make them feel relevant. So in my opinion, they don't actually want to fix the schools. Do they really want to stop crime? I don't think that they do because they need something to be and complain about, you know, and complain about because that makes them feel relevant. And so if they can say, oh, we're fighting for the schools. Are you really? Are you really fighting for the schools? Oh, we're fighting for the community. Are you really fighting for the community? Because you're screaming about defunding the police, the same people that are trying to save your community. Donald Trump sending in the National Guard. Oh, we're fighting for our community. Really? Because your community is literally in tatters. all these jackholes in Memphis, all the local politicians out there on the school board and the city council and all that stuff, is riddled with politics and corruption. And they're the ones that would scream the loudest about Bill Lee, perhaps he's not going to, but send in the National Guard into Memphis to try to curtail the nation's highest murder rate in Memphis, Tennessee. You know darn right well, they would be screaming the loudest. Oh, the Republicans, state of Tennessee, they're so racist, all the stuff. Justin Jones, Justin Pearson, Gloria Johnson, and I would look right back at them and I would say, what have you done to fix Memphis? You haven't done a damn thing. But they'll be the first ones to, scream racism. I could say that those people that flap their gums all the time, talking about how they want to, fix these cities and so on and so forth, but they actually haven't done anything. And so a Donald Trump or maybe a governor with some testicular fortitude actually wants to do something by perhaps sending in the National Guard, which I think is a great idea. They'd scream the loudest. Crime would go down. Lives would be saved. Businesses would be impacted in a good way because people wouldn't be afraid to go outside. But the left, of course, would do what the left does. 746, sorry, stepping off my soapbox. It is time to check the roads on WTN. .747, as far as your weather goes. Joan, have you heard the story about the deer that was rescued in the ocean? I'm looking up at the TV, and somehow a deer in Florida ended up in the ocean. And so the lifeguards actually had to go in and rescue a deer. And apparently they did.
What?
Yes, a deer was in the ocean. I believe it or not, CNN is on in the studio here, and a deer somehow made its way into the ocean. Do they go in the ocean? In Florida?
If they're chased, I think they might.
Okay.
If they're chased by a predator, yeah.
All right, very good. All right, real quickly, because I want to talk about real quick what is going on with Scott Jennings. So Scott Jennings, of course, everybody knows that Scott Jennings, people like to say that he is the owner of the libs. The Abby Phillip, the one who hosts the show that he is on. So she admitted in a podcast that Scott Jennings is hated by the CNN audience. And it is clear that he's also not liked by his coworkers. And, one of the things that she talks about is that doesn't matter. He's there for a reason. And all sides, she says, kind of, sort of, have to be represented. This is a great moment with Scott Jennings, and this is an example of why the audience of CNN hates him.
I think the Democrats are hemorrhaging voters because they've chosen all the wrong constituencies. They seem to care more about illegal aliens than American citizens, violent criminals than law-abiding citizens, and the Palestinian flag more than the American flag. That is not true, and that is when you take those positions on things like that, people tend to run to the other party. And
is there one mainstream Democrat that...
I think the Democrats are hemorrhaging voters because...
Yeah, he's right, though. He is... My phone's blowing up. He's right, though. I mean, Scott Jennings is right when he talks about why the Democrats are hemorrhaging voters. We were talking about that earlier in the broadcast, about an hour ago, where the New York Times and a lot of people voting on this now, or reporting on this now, where the Democrats have lost, 4.5 million registered voters over the last several years. And I was talking about this with Jonathan Fahey, and there's a number of things going on. And I think one of the things that is going on is that Democrats are just probably embarrassed by the behavior of, the militant part, the militant wing of their party. And let's be honest, most of the party, it feels like these days, at least the ones that are engaged with the media, they are militant. And they're communists. So this is the story about Adam Abby Phillip, CNN's Abby Phillip, confessed on a recent podcast that she is aware Scott Jennings, one of the network's most brazen Trump defenders, is broadly reviled by the audience. She says, I know that folks really dislike Scott for his views, Phillip told Kara Swisher on The Pivot. But she says, but I would also say there are views that you don't like that you think are unfounded, but that are pretty widely shared. She says, I think Scott falls into that category. But then she says this. She went on. Again, this is Abby Phillip talking about Scott Jennings. If I deflect that what you're doing is playing a game of let me say something that I think is going to go viral, let me misrepresent what is being said here to try to create a moment, Abby Phillip says, I will stop that. Scott is often involved in such moments. So Abby Phillip is saying that the only reason that Scott Jennings does what he does is to get likes and follows on social media. That is so completely bunk. The reason Scott Jennings is there and the reason why his moments on her show do go viral is because he's the only one that makes sense. I'm looking at a photograph now. It's Scott Jennings and 4 other people. And he is trying to fact check them and talk reason to the nonsense that they're saying. And you got all these Democrats and they're, complaining about, we've lost all of these voters and the Democrat Party is in disarray. And he's trying to patiently explain to them, like you have to explain to a small child where they went wrong. He's doing that with the Democrats. And that's, not a bid to get more social media followers. That is simply a bid to have a conversation, which, of course, we know that the Democrats simply cannot have. 7:52, Joan is, she's got the news coming up. And at 8, Joan.
So, a question. Did Russia just target an American company in an overnight bombing? We'll tell you who says they did. And a city manager is under arrest and the city council under scrutiny for not acting sooner. Those stories coming up here at 8 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Dan Mandis here. I want to tell you about my friends at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. They are my friends because when I came to Nashville, I was riddled, and I mean riddled, with chronic back and neck pain. The Wellness Institute of Nashville, they fixed me right up. I've been a client for years and years, and right now you can check them out as well. For $12, you can get a comprehensive exam, x-rays if needed, well-explained diagnosis, and a first treatment. That phone number is 615-246-5009, 615-246-5009. They can help you like they helped me. So listen, if you've got back and neck pain, if you've got sciatica, slipped or bulging spinal discs, herniated discs, spinal stenosis, numbness or weakness in the arms and legs or the fingers and toes, they can help you. It is all part of their state-of-the-art non-surgical spinal decompression. They can help you. I've been through it. It works, and they can help you as well. No surgery, no spinal injections, no painkillers. Call them today. Tell them Dan told you to reach out. 615-246-5009. The website, find out how it all works, is painisbad.com. 7:58, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Appreciate you listening. So people commenting about, my thought about Bill Lee sending in the National Guard into Memphis. And one person said that he doesn't have the authority, which I thought was kind of bizarre. So I grokked it, of course, like I do. Tennessee Governor Bill Lee, as the commander-in-chief of the state's National Guard, does have the authority to deploy the Guard within Tennessee for specific purposes, such as responding to emergencies, natural disasters, or civil unrest. So at what point, I guess, and listen, it's never going to happen with Bill Lee, but that is the question. So at what point do you define or determine that Memphis is, civil unresting? I don't know what you call it, but, under civil unrest, because it does seem like in Memphis that it is in a state of chaos all the time. It is, I would say, under a state of civil unrest just because of the ongoing crime. So I don't know. I'll leave that to, other people to figure it out. But at least to me, it does seem like it would most certainly be justified to send in the National Guard. As you know, we have a governor's race that is coming up. Maybe when everybody gets together to debate, they can talk about whether or not they would send the National Guard into Memphis. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Marsha Blackburn is refusing to debate. It is 8 o'clock, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning, 8 o'clock now. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. There is fresh evidence that Russian President Vladimir Putin may not be ready for peace after all. Russia fired more than 600 drones and ballistic missiles overnight into western Ukraine. And ABC News senior political correspondent Rachel Scott tells us Putin has just added a catch to any peace agreement.
The United States and our European allies have said they would be willing to provide more support to Ukraine just in case Russia invades again if there is a peace deal. But if Putin is open to this idea, there appears to be a catch, because we heard from the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, who said that this proposal will not work without their participation, calling it a road to nowhere.
An American electronics manufacturer was struck during last night's bombings, and there are casualties reported there, too. Ukraine's president is accusing Russia of targeting that American business. Military operations are underway in Gaza today.
Israel is now preparing to occupy Gaza City. 60,000 IDF reservists are being called up, and the Israeli military says its troops are already on the outskirts of the city. We've seen airstrikes this morning on a number of neighborhoods to the south of Gaza City. It does look like the Israelis, after threatening this for some weeks, really do intend to carry this out.
ABC's James Longman. In Lewisburg, city manager Roy Hayslip has been arrested for allegedly stalking a city employee and breaking into her home. Channel 4 says that in June, Lewisburg City Council seemingly acknowledged that there was a problem, but they didn't do anything about it.
There is a female employee that has order protection against one of our top leaders.
The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation began investigating Hayslip in May at the request of a local district attorney. 2 people under arrest after leading police on a high-speed chase overnight. News 2's Megan Fee says it all started when a Tennessee Highway Patrol officer spotted a vehicle speeding on Murfreesboro Pike.
The suspect sped away from an attempted traffic stop, reaching up to 100 miles per hour while swerving into other lanes and sideswiping vehicles. THP called Metro officers to help with that pursuit.
And then the pursuit ended at Murfreesboro Pike and Bell Road, where the car crashed into a utility pole. 21-year-old Missy De La Rosa has been charged with DUI. Her passenger also under arrest. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Walmart just this morning reported a great earnings report. The company raising its full-year earnings and sales outlook. However, the futures market is still sharply down this morning. Dow futures minus 180, the NASDAQ futures down 102, and the S&P futures falling 27 points. That's the latest news. We've got traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 8:03, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. By the way, Joan, coming up,
yeah,
a shout out to some very special people.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Love it.
Dan Mandis here talking about the Glock store. Now, I know, I'm talking about the Glock store. What else is new? Well, I'm going to tell you. C-cuts, that is what's new at the Glock store. Now, C-cuts are short for compensator cuts. These are little slots cut into the barrel and the slide of a gun that redirect some of that bullet blast upwards into a V pattern. Now, this basically helps your shooting. This helps you keep on target by reducing muzzle flip, and it does lessen that recoil as well. Now, these cuts are identical to the ones that were offered in the high-end Gen 3 compensated Glocks, but haven't been available in the latest models, at least until now. The Glock store will compensate your Glock in 10 days or less, and you'll end up with a flatter shooting gun with less recoil. It is pretty incredible. And if you want to try one before you buy one, Glock store, they've got you covered. Just buy a sample bullet pack for $6.99, and you can shoot your choice of a C-cut Glock 17, Glock 19, or a Glock 43X. The C-cuts make a huge difference in all the models, but that 43X with the C-cut, it is simply amazing. And by the way, don't forget to bring in your Glock or just the barrel and slide. You're going to want to start those 10 days sooner than later. The Glock store, minutes from the airport and worth the drive from anywhere. Two great websites, glockstore.com and shoot270.com.
All right, we have problems this morning. In Antioch, 24 westbound side before Hickory Hollow Parkway, exit 60. That is a crash, and it's taking out the HOV lane. If you're in Hermitage, you've got a crash blocking the left shoulder, 40 westbound before Stewart's Ferry Pike, exit 219. Also on 40 westbound side at the airport, there's an accident that takes out the right lane at Briley Parkway. Eastbound, East Bank this morning, North First Street at the I-24 eastbound area. There is a crash in that spot as well. Hendersonville, Vietnam Veterans Boulevard, all backed up at New Shackle Island Road because of a crash there at exit 6. You've got Goodlettsville and a crash there as well on Vietnam Veterans Boulevard just before I-65. Lakeview, Edge O Lake Drive at Rural Hill Road. Watch for an accident in that spot as well. And everything looks backed up this morning. All the roadways heading into Nashville are in the red, so it may be an extra couple of minutes before you get into work this morning. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
8:09, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. How is it 8:09? Was I that late with all my things in the last hour? Didn't feel like I was all that late, but apparently I was. I apologize. Hey, Joan.
Yep.
Going to say hello to a very special group of people.
Okay.
The people watching on YouTube. So they apparently have been daring me to say hello all morning long. I don't really understand why. I say hello to you people all the time. I love you people on YouTube.
They're needy.
Are they needy? You know what? Look, people, I am the needy one in this relationship. By the way, also, Joan, real quick, and then I'm gonna move on.
Yeah.
People are concerned for you, actually.
For me.
Yeah, you seem to have a strange man lurking behind you.
I do.
Sam is training to be a newscaster and news anchor. And as Joan is doing her news, I actually noticed this the other day, Joan, is Sam is like lurking behind you, just like standing there, sitting there, watching you do your news.
Yeah.
Which is really weird if you think about it. Does that make you feel like a little, creepy-ish, like he's watching you?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
It's cool.
Is it cool?
I see he's gotten out of the picture. Come back into the picture. Let me see how that looks. I can't see him.
Well, in any event, he's back. But Joan is safe. It's okay. That is Sam.
Yes, I'm okay.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a really good thing. Also, I will mention, and we'll talk a little bit more about this at 8:35. 4 years ago today, Phil Valentine passed away.
Oh, wow. It's 4 years?
4 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'll talk a little bit about that at 8:35. But I'm telling you, not a day goes by that I don't think about Phil and, how much I loved him and how much he meant to not only me as a friend and as an employee here, because I was his boss for, many years, but also what he meant to the people of Tennessee. And so we'll talk a little bit about that coming up at 8:35 here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I've been playing some audio. I grabbed a whole bunch of audio this morning from J.D. Vance. And I think that there's an obvious distinction between J.D. Vance, who is, a lot of people are saying, and I'm gonna say it too, I think that he is the heir apparent to Donald Trump. And you have, of course, Gavin Newsom, who is also making a lot of waves, mimicking and mocking Donald Trump on Twitter. So I think, I don't know, Joan, do you think that we are ramping up for a J.D. Vance, Gavin Newsom 2028? Do you think it's going to be those two?
I think that there's a good chance. Yeah. I just think it's a foregone conclusion that it'll be JD on the GOP side. Mm-hmm. There's still so much time that I think the left needs to shake out who's going to be a good candidate and who's just going to be there.
Right. And you are right. And one of the things as you look at J.D. Vance and as you look at the other Republicans, I think a lot of people don't trust Marco Rubio. Remember way back when, way back when, he was part of, was it the Gang of Eight? I think it was the Gang of Eight.
Yeah.
Where, they were essentially calling for, amnesty. You had all this push for, concessions for illegal immigrants. And he was part of that whole thing. And I think that people, despite how good he has been as a Secretary of State, there's a lot of people that just don't trust him. And I understand that. When you're a politician and you've been doing it for a long time, you got to vote and you got to do things. And so I think there are people that don't trust him. I like Marco Rubio. I do believe, though, that even though Rubio has a better resume, I think that J.D. Vance is a better communicator. And these days, and by the way, J.D. Vance, from a policy standpoint, is also top-notch. But I think that's why he has been most certainly trotted out over the past, several days, and really since the Trump administration began, where J.D. Vance has been pushed out front because he is the heir apparent. And he was on with Laura Ingraham last night in a great interview. And again, remember what I said. They're bringing J.D. Vance out. He is doing a lot of interviews. You're not seeing, Donald Trump is doing a lot of interviews too, obviously. It's what the man does. But I think that J.D. Vance, would you say that J.D. Vance has been I'm trying to think. because J.D. Vance, as a vice president, he has been one that has been in the forefront, I think, certainly more than Mike Pence. Would you agree with that, Joan?
Sorry, I'm...
You're training. All right.
Yeah.
Real quick. Do you think that J.D. Vance is more in the forefront than Mike Pence was during Trump's first administration as a vice president? I'm gonna tell you, Joan agrees with me. Absolutely. So,
I'm sorry. I totally agree with you, Dan.
thank you, Joan. All right, let's move on. This is J.D. Vance, and he was on Fox News with Laura Ingraham.
Actually, the most interesting thing, Laura, was after the cameras left, Pete and Steve and I stayed and, had lunch with these troops and just learned a lot about what they're seeing, about how much the city has changed in just the past 9 days. So crazy statistic, violent crime has dropped in D.C. 35% in 9 days. Robberies in D.C. have dropped 55% in 9 days. And it highlights the fact that this living with lawlessness and disorder, that's fundamentally a question of political will. If you've got the political will to enforce the law, you can make even cities like D.C. safe again. And that's what we're demonstrating. And I hope that the American people take an important lesson from this, because obviously D.C. is a federal city, New York, L.A., these places are not. I hope the American people just recognize that you don't have to live with lawlessness. You don't have to live with third world murder rates. If you just take control of these cities, you can make them safe places to live again.
All right, so that is J.D. Vance, and he clearly, again, pushed out into the forefront. One of my favorite J.D. Vance moments from last night was when he was asked to give some advice to the Democrats to try to get them, back into some semblance of normalcy. And he had some good advice for the Democrats. I've got that coming up next. It is 8:16. Time to check the roads on WTN. All right, as far as your weather goes, it looks like we've got a high of 87, feeling like 93, mostly sunny, with intermittent cloud coverage throughout the day. And appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News. All right, so what advice? It really is a simple question, though, isn't it? What advice would you give? What advice would J.D. Vance give to the Democrats? Because as was reported yesterday, and I've been talking about this today, they are hemorrhaging support.
The dance question.
I mean, look, the autopsy for the Democrats, some free political advice from the President of the United States is
Don't help them too much.
Stop sounding like crazy people.
There you go.
That really is all it is. I mean, this idea that Gavin Newsom is somehow going to mimic Donald Trump's style, I think that ignores the fundamental genius of President Trump's political success, which is that he's authentic. He just is who he is. You've got to be yourself. You've actually got to talk to people honestly about the issues. I don't think it's that complicated. Don't be a crazy person. Be authentic. If the Democrats did that, they'd do a hell of a lot better. But the thing is, the Democrats really can't help themselves. If you look at the transgender issue, they're still talking about letting men play in women's sports. If you look at the crime issue, they're calling Donald Trump a fascist for taking action that in 9 days has dropped armed robberies by 55%. So part of sounding less crazy is being less crazy. And if the Democrats were less crazy, I think we'd all get along a whole lot better.
Yeah, I mean, that is true. Now, little secret, though. I mean, let's keep that advice just between us. But you know what the crazy thing is? This is crazy. Speaking of crazy in the Democrats, do you know what the insanity is with the Democrats? Is that they know the problem. They know why people are fleeing their party. They refuse to change. And that's all well and good. Because I don't believe that all Democrats, just hear me out before you start yelling at me. I don't believe that all Democrats are as crazy as the crazy Democrats. However, if they are standing by and not calling out the crazy Democrats, well, then they're guilty by association. There you go. But see, I don't think that they have it in them. And I think that's part of their problem. Last audio bite from J.D. Vance for today, as he is out there. By the way, do you know what they're saying about J.D. Vance? Do you know what the left's really nasty attack ad or attack point is on J.D. Vance? He's ugly. Did you know that? There are leftists out there that are calling J.D. Vance ugly. Now, I'm a dude. I don't know if he's ugly or not, but
He's got beautiful eyes.
Okay.
He's got really beautiful eyes.
He's got beautiful eyes. Sure. Okay. Thank you, Joan. Okay. So from
That's one country heard from, right?
from a technical standpoint, you know what, ladies? You tell me.
Yeah, you should ask.
Super texters and YouTubers. Is J.D. Vance ugly? I don't think he's ugly. I mean, I'm a dude, but I mean, you know, I've certainly seen a lot worse. But yeah, they're saying he's ugly. And they're also saying his beard is weird. I heard somebody actually call him Weird Beard on occasion. And I just, whatever. I mean, if that is going to be the baseline of their attacks, again, bring it on. And by the way, J.D. Vance has a gorgeous, beautiful wife. So, I mean, clearly, and he's doing a lot of things right. So whatever, Democrats, if this is what you want to do, knock yourselves out. I saved, by the way, my favorite audio bite of J.D. Vance for last, where they spoke about, because J.D. Vance was there, and he was asked about what was going on after the Donald Trump meeting with Vladimir Zelensky. Listen to this.
It was like 1 a.m. Moscow time, and they had no anticipation. So we're actually in the east wing of the White House, and the president says, you know, we've had a pretty good meeting. I'm going to go call Vladimir Putin and see what he says about it. And everybody's like, oh, you're going to call him next week? And he's like, no, what time is it in Moscow? Let's call him right now.
Yep.
And I think one of the things I've realized about President Trump's leadership is he cuts through the BS of some of these diplomatic protocols and just says, I'm going to get things done. If I want to talk to somebody, I'm going to talk to somebody. You had a lot of the Europeans who were saying, no, there needs to be proper, vetting, and the teams have to prepare the phone call and blah, 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 blah. And the president was like, no. I want to talk to the guy. I'm going to talk to the guy. And I think that kind of no holds barred, no BS diplomacy is part of the reason why we've made the progress we have. And we've made a lot of progress, Laura. Look, who knows what's going to happen? The president tells me this all the time. You can never say with certainty what the outcome in this situation is going to be. But we now have the Russians talking to the Ukrainians. They're talking details about what would be necessary on each side to stop the fighting and stop the killing. We've made more progress in 3 months than the country had made in 3 years in stopping this conflict. And I think it's because sometimes you just need a president who will pick up the phone and call somebody.
There you go, J.D. Vance. And I think he's right. And I think that he is clearly, obviously learning from the best. So I do believe that he is the heir apparent right now for the Republican Party. We'll have to see ultimately what happens with the Democrats. We got a long way to go. By the way, the latest on Russia, and I don't know if you have anything, Joan. I know that people are saying, I'm reading, that there was, I don't know if it's still going on, but a massive strike, Russia against Ukraine, the biggest, they say, in weeks or months. Ukraine is saying it needs a credible security guarantee. Donald Trump is working on that with European leaders. They continue, of course, to buy our weapons through NATO and give them to Ukraine. Russia just doesn't seem to be all that interested. I mean, that's what I'm seeing, is that Russia doesn't seem all that interested in meeting with Vladimir Zelensky.
And that strike last night, it was 600 drones and ballistic missiles.
Good Lord.
And it was the western portion of Ukraine that they're hitting, which is a little different tactic. But in the process of doing so, they hit an American manufacturing company. And Ukraine, of course, is saying, hey, America, pay attention to this. They targeted you. But that's not clear if that's true.
Was there any Americans killed?
So far, they are saying that there are casualties. They're not saying if there was anyone who was killed. So, I'm following that. I've been doing the story, following it, but it appears that this could be something that upends the whole peace process.
Well, yeah, because, and I don't know, and folks don't know if they deliberately targeted. But if those are drones, I mean, those drones are really accurate. Mm-hmm. And today's rockets, unless you're, firing them from Gaza and you're Hamas, those rockets are actually pretty darn accurate. They are. So if Russia hit an American company in Ukraine and they did it on purpose, I don't know. Sounds like an act of war to me. I mean, I don't want to be accused of hyperbole, but I mean, if they're targeting now our interests and not Ukraine's interests, but our interests in Ukraine, then yeah, Joan, you're right. That could be somewhat of a deal changer.
It's certainly it could change the scope of this whole peace process that President Trump has put together.
Well, and the question is, will Vladimir Putin come out and say, my bad?
Yeah. And will anyone believe him?
Why did your business jump in front of our rockets? I can just see. All right, it's 8:24. Joan, what's coming up?
Well, right now, there is a heavy police presence outside of a Nashville school. We'll bring you the latest there. Also, we've got the words of the West Tennessee murder suspect. He is speaking to a local reporter. That and more coming up here at 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
8:25, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Dan Mandis here for my friends at Brentwood Jewelry. Listen, if you have a special occasion coming up, you need a special gift, and Brentwood Jewelry is your place to go. Listen, for the lady in your life, necklaces and bracelets and rings and earrings. For the men, money clips, cufflinks, and they've got watches for everyone and every budget. So no matter the piece of jewelry you need, they've got a price that is going to agree with you. And by the way, this is one of my favorite things about Brentwood Jewelry. If you've got a family heirloom, maybe like an old watch that needs repair, maybe a ring that needs to be reset, Brentwood Jewelry, they can do it for you. Now, they've got great merchandise, terrific prices for every budget, a family-owned business that's been in Middle Tennessee for over 50 years. Brentwood Jewelry is the official jewelry store of my house, and they're here to help you. 7012 Church Street East, located in the heart of Brentwood, just off Franklin Road. Exceptional style, exceptional deals every day for over 50 years. Find them online anytime, BrentwoodJewelry.com.
Good morning. It's now 8:30, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We have breaking news this morning. A bomb threat has sparked a large police presence at outside the school, the University School of Nashville. That's a private school located at Edge Hill Avenue and 19th Avenue South. Now, Fox 17's Johnny Maffey is reporting that there are kids being held outside of that building. There are officers posted guarding the entrances to the building, and parents who have not yet brought their kids to school are being told, keep those kids home for today. And others are being let out of the school to go home. We're going to bring you more on this as we get new details. But again, that's a bomb threat outside the University School of Nashville. The man charged with murdering 4 family members in West Tennessee says he didn't do it. Austin Drummond has given a jailhouse interview to News Channel 5's Nick Barris and claims that he had been an undercover informant for the FBI. Barris asked him if he didn't kill the 4, who did, and what about that abandoned baby?
Now, Drummond said at this point he's not really ready to answer any of those questions, but we are scheduled to talk again. We'll see what he says. Definitely he knows more. Whether or not you believe anything he says is a complete other matter. And I should say I did speak with the district attorney who said that he is well aware of our conversation with Drummond. It is now recorded, and he said that is now part of the criminal case file.
Now, Drummond is being held without bond, and prosecutors are seeking the death penalty. The Texas House of Representatives passing the GOP-backed change to its congressional map, assuring that 5 districts will most likely be flipped red. That measure goes to the state Senate this week, and then it's on to Governor Abbott's desk for his signature. That could come before the end of the week. And we are just learning now that the founder of Focus on the Family, James Dobson, has died. His family says he suffered a brief illness. He was 89 years old. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management online at beaconcm.com. And stocks this morning are trading lower at the start here. We've got the Dow Jones Industrials minus 240. NASDAQ has fallen 95 points. We've got the S&P 500 index falling 27. That is the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 8:33 on WTN. You know, change is always happening. It is part of life. And when it comes to music, change is all around us. Songs are rewritten, classics are remixed, bands and artists come and go. Even our taste in music changes. But no matter how things change in 5 years, there's one thing that is going to stay the same. That is the price of your internet. Xfinity is introducing a 5-year price guarantee. Now, it means that you get 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with their best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same for 5 years. That is huge. One internet price, 5 years guaranteed. Learn more online, xfinity.com/deals. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024. You know, the weather in Middle Tennessee can get crazy and it can get dangerous, which is why you need a backup home standby generator from my friends at the Generator Supercenter. Now, they are the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. You can get a free quote and get peace of mind when you have one installed. When the power goes out in your neighborhood, your house lights are going to be on thanks to the Generator Supercenter. Now, they do feature expert installation, 24-hour monitoring as well. They're not going to leave you in the dark, and yes, financing is available. Tell them Dan told you to reach out, 615-879-1952, 615-879-1952, Generator Supercenter of Nashville.com.
It is a mess this morning on 24, the westbound side before Hickory Hollow Parkway, exit 60. The HOV lane is blocked off by a crash this morning. If you're traveling in East Bank, they're still working that traffic scene this morning, a crash scene at North 1st Street at I-24 eastbound. And then you've got some problems this morning as well in Hendersonville, Vietnam Veterans Boulevard, the westbound side at New Shackle Island Road, exit 6. That is a crash and very slow traffic behind it. 65 North backs up all the way to the Spring Hill area this morning in heavy volume. And you've got heavy volume this morning on 65 and 24 coming in from the north. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.838, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Dan.
Do you believe that J.D. Vance is ugly?
I think he's a good-looking piece of man.
That's a good-looking piece of man, isn't he?
No, I've seen the memes. He's probably pretty good. Have you seen him without the beard?
No.
Yeah.
Is he ugly without the beard?
It changes things.
Well, do you know what people say, Joan? You can chime in on this.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say who said this, Amy, but Amy says that, oh, shoot, I just said it. Well, whatever. Amy says that beards are like push-up bras for men.
Oh, yeah.
Have you heard that? Have you ever heard that, Joan?
I have not.
Yeah, because, I mean, Joan, I don't know.
Okay.
I've had my beard for years.
Yeah.
And I am one ugly individual without it. And
Stop
the
it.
beard doesn't do much help for me either. So, you know, you'll notice I didn't have the courage to say, hey, am I ugly? No, it's J.D. Vance. And by the way, everybody said J.D. Vance. All the ladies out there said that the push-up bra for men is working, and J.D. Vance is a good-looking individual.
Stud muffin he is.
He has a fat face.
He does have a fat face. I don't know.
And his body doesn't match his fat face.
Chris?
Is that too
forward?
I don't know. I would say maybe, I mean, he's got a bit of a chubby face, but I mean.
I'm not here to do any body shaming.
I've got to.
Yeah.
Listen, I'll shame.
yeah?
I'll shame my own body.
Right.
Good Lord. Anyway, moving right along. So I don't think that I got one person here that said that J.D. Vance was ugly. All the ladies chiming in. Matter of fact, one of the sales folks, I'm not going to say who it is because it was a private text, but she said that there's nothing ugly about that man.
Ladies love cool J.D.
You know what? It's sometimes you see a person's personality beyond their looks, right?
Yeah.
And so what we've seen of JD is that he is he's bold. And I think women like that. Like they like a bold man who espouses the things that they agree with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, listen. That's why I got all the ladies. I'm bold.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Moving right along from there.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone awkwardly chuckles. It's cool. All right. So you live in Murfreesboro.
Yes, sir.
And you were telling me off the air, because we had a big conversation about this on the air, about the panhandlers in the borough.
Yes.
And you actually moved to Murfreesboro because they had
Yes.
that law.
That was a selling point for me and the wife.
Oh, how about that?
Because when we lived in Pittsburgh, so when we came from Pittsburgh to Mount Juliet for like 9 months before we bought the house in Murfreesboro. And in Pittsburgh, in the downtown area where we lived, the panhandling was out of control. Like, you couldn't walk a block without seeing another panhandler. And when you're walking around with young kids, that becomes infuriating because these people aren't looking for help. These people are drug addicts.
And they yell at you.
Yeah, and they're insane. And you don't know what's going to happen as soon as you walk by them. So when there's a no panhandling law on the books in Murfreesboro, I was like, that's awesome. That makes sense. But they've stopped enforcing it. Or maybe they never did. But it does feel like after COVID, the homeless panhandling in Murfreesboro has gotten completely out of control. The homeless in Murfreesboro has gotten out of control. And I heard the caller earlier. They're busting them down from Nashville. Fact check, true.
We talked about that.
Yeah. But so there was a morning. It was like 8:30. Virginia had just dropped one kid off at school and had a couple other kids. So she went to Old Fort Park, which is right there. It's a big playground in Murfreesboro. And she said, come 9 a.m., just a flood of homeless people start walking out of the woods.
Oh.
She's like, it was like The Walking Dead. And you're seeing it get worse and worse in Murfreesboro, that if you don't get a handle on it soon, you're never going to get a handle on it. So I'm very excited that they're doing something about it.
Yeah, and they need to be, frankly, more aggressive. And it's interesting you talk about, the homeless people walking out of the woods, because where I live, I go through Hermitage to get to my house in Mount Juliet, where we don't allow homelessness or panhandling. I'm just kidding. But I never see anybody. Actually, no, I'm wrong on that. I do see panhandlers on the north side of town. No, the south side of town over by Providence. That's where they are.
We saw a panhandler yesterday as we were driving down to Medical Center Parkway, or 2 days ago, and my wife said, where are the police to shoo this guy along?
Yeah.
Who looks like an absolute lunatic.
Yep. That's exactly right. Well, in Hermitage, Nashville, I'm driving home, and when they would have all of those homeless places, what do you call it? Where you got a bunch of homeless people in there.
Yeah.
And they would walk out of the woods. And it was creepy. It was like a movie. And they come out of the woods, and then they'd go to like 7-Eleven or something. They'd panhandle, then go to 7-Eleven, buy their alcohol for the day, and go back into the woods.
Yeah.
And they finally broke that up, Joan.
I was actually walking at that park at the Old Stone Fort?
Old Fort Park.
Old Fort. There's great walking trails in that park. And that's funny that you said that. I didn't realize that what I was seeing was homeless people until you just said that, Chris.
Yeah.
Because they hang out at the shores of the water there.
Yep. All of those trails and all of those woods are littered with homeless.
Yes. I thought it was very odd, and now it makes sense.
Yeah.
So now I'm never going there again.
No, and I don't blame you. And I believe, wasn't there some woman got assaulted down there at one point?
There was the Greenway murder. I don't know if that's what you're talking about, but
9292 says Columbia's begging problem is getting very fierce. Lena says, and I know that Lena lives in Mount Juliet like I do, you should have stayed in Mount Juliet, Chris. There's no panhandling. Unless you live on the south side.
The problem was I got priced out of Mount Juliet in about 6 months after moving here.
Oh, did you?
Oh, my gosh. The everything was going up so fast.
When did you move to Tennessee?
It was 2017.
Okay.
So everything was going up so fast, so that we were like, okay, which is the next city to blow? And we landed on Murfreesboro. Yeah.
Do you regret living in Murfreesboro?
I love Murfreesboro.
You got a great neighborhood.
I'll never leave. We are so blessed, and we have the best friends that we could have down there. We got a great community, an awesome church. Yeah. But there are some things that, you got to fix, or it's going to get worse.
But you know what the problem is? There's never going to be a utopia. There's never going to be some place where, everything is perfect, because that's just not the way that it works. I mean, there's always going to be something that you have to live with. In Mount Juliet, there is some, I think there's some panhandling up by the mall. I rarely go up that way anymore, but the traffic is terrible.
But I don't need it to be perfect. I just don't want them to have free range. Make it a little bit uncomfortable. So when the panhandler sees the police cruiser coming, he goes, all right, time for me to take a walk. That would suffice.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
You need to go out and live in the rural area.
I know.
It's so, our biggest problem right now is that there's cows across the street and they bring horse flies. That's it.
Wow.
There's no panhandlers.
Yeah. Virginia wants me to get land and chickens.
Yeah, chickens.
That's what she says.
Mm-hmm.
We need chickens.
Can you have chickens there in Murfreesboro?
I mean, you can do anything if you don't tell anybody.
There's a Chick-fil-A probably there, right?
Yeah.
What? It's been 4 years since Phil Valentine passed away.
I heard you talking about that when I was driving in, and I heard you say, not a day goes by I don't think about him. And for me, I never knew him personally, but as a listener, I still think about him all the time. You're talking about the homeless in Murfreesboro, and I'm thinking to myself, Phil used to always say that they're not there on the street corners because they're down on their luck. Those are drug addicts.
Yep.
The people that are down on their luck are finding those programs and finding those resources and lifting themselves up. And that stuck with me. And there's so many things that Phil said that stuck with me. And I didn't even know him personally like you did.
Yeah, I worked with him for a long time. He did have an incredible impact on me. And one of the things, and there's so many things to say about Phil, but one of the things that I'll always say is that for a talk show host who is so talented and for a guy that had so much success, dude had like no ego. Like he was just the nicest of guys. When you come into a new situation like I did many, many years ago now, but there's sometimes you run the risk of, people big timing you and all that kind of stuff. Phil Valentine was the first guy to reach out to me and say, hey, and he and I mean, we talked on the phone all the time, and it was just, he was so incredibly supportive, especially at times when I wasn't feeling as secure and confident as I do now. Because when I got to, a lot of people hated me. And Phil was always just a comforting friend. And, I was on noon to 3, so he was on after me. And, we would talk, and he was always upbeat. He sounded great. And he really did help me a lot. And so did, of course, JB as well. And so I'm just, his book, A Conservative's Handbook, I have it in a very special place in my studio, and I keep it right there, and it's right next to. It's an autographed book, by the way, and it's right there next to the other things that I hold dear from a broadcasting standpoint, and pictures and so forth, and it's right there because number one, I read it all the time, and I will just flip through it from time to time. I've read it all now a couple of different times, but it's just a reminder, number one, of how amazing and generous Phil Valentine was, but also how absolutely brilliant he was as well, and how much of a good friend he was. And I just, as I said, I think about him all the time. I've said this before. I'll say it again. I've got a voicemail message that I will listen to on occasion just to hear his voice. And, of course, we continue to play his voice on the Legal ID. I think most hours, I don't know what they're doing now, but I know it still plays.
I mean, it's got to be cool though, because when you open up that book, you read it in his voice. You hear his voice talking to you, and
absolutely,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and so I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. I miss him terribly. I miss him every single day. But his views on politics and life, they're in my heart and they're in my head. He was a tremendous influence. Did you ever meet Phil, Joan?
I did not.
Yeah, okay.
I was in D.C. at the time, and when I heard that news, I thought, wow, this is a bombshell. This is, that's big that Phil Valentine passed away. And I knew that the effect that would have on the Nashville area. Of course, it was an industry-wide bombshell that really, I mean, it shook everybody industry-wide.
Yeah, and I mean, I do you know that I've never met one person, even on the left, that has a bad thing to say about Phil? I don't. Yeah. Because I deal with, some malcontents, as we all do. All that hate mail that I've gotten, not one person has said nasty things about Phil, a nasty thing about Phil Valentine. So,
well, he got me hooked on WTN. That's for dang sure.
Yep. The first time I was driving into Nashville, I've told this story before. The first time that I drove into Nashville, I heard Phil Valentine, and I had not heard Phil yet. I'd, of course, checked out the station in Denver, but I had never landed on Phil's show. So I'm listening. Oh, this is so funny. And I don't want to get misty-eyed, but I remember driving in, and I remember thinking, oh, this guy's really good. what have I gotten myself into? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm not worthy. I had an I'm not worthy moment when it came to hearing Phil for the first time, and but again, he made me feel so welcome.
Yeah, and you get in the car and you feel like you knew him, and it was. I mean, I remember I used to have to pick up Kennedy at 3:00 when she was going to the school that we had her going to before we were doing homeschooling, and I used to time it so that way I would be in the pickup line as 3:06 hit, so I would have a couple minutes to listen to his opening monologue before the kids got in the car.
Yep.
And I would do that every day.
Yep.
And then I remember my wife would get in and be like, you can't be listening to conservative radio with the kids in the car.
Oh.
And it's like flash forward a few years, like, sorry, your worst nightmares come true.
That is so funny. But I'm sure she's okay with it now.
She loves it. She loves it.
Very good. All right, what do you got coming up?
Well, we're going to talk about that J.D. Vance interview. That was just fantastic.
It was.
We're going to talk about the ridiculousness that's going on with Gavin Newsom. And there are some rumors flying around that the social media campaign that we're seeing is a bit bought and paid for. People are saying it's Chinese bots that Gavin Newsom is using to flood the White House TikTok account, and that the ratio on X isn't as authentic as it may seem.
Isn't that the problem, though, with Gavin Newsom? He's not authentic.
No, that's the problem.
That's the problem.
With Democrats in general. Nothing is organic. Nothing is unique. Even his whole thing, you're making fun of Trump, but you're not even going to be up against him. Why are we going after Trump?
We went after J.D. Vance the other day, and I think that is probably going to increase. But I think he's going after Trump. You know what? We don't have time to do this now. Let's do this when we record the podcast.
Let's do it for the podcast.
All right, very good. It is...
we're going to be dropping Mostly Peaceful at 9 a.m. on Saturdays as opposed to 6 a.m., just an FYI.
Oh, all right, very good.
Letting people sleep in.
Oh, okay, very good. I didn't know.
We have to tickle the algo.
Oh, it's the old tickle the algo
thing.
Action.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, very good. Joan, what is coming up?
Yeah, we've got the latest information on a bomb threat at a Nashville school going on right now, and the man known for being the compassionate judge has died. We've got those stories and more coming up here at 9 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, thank you very much, Joan. And business owners, if your concrete floors need a little love, my friends at Specialty Coatings, they can help you. Now, they do specialize in concrete floor coatings and polished concrete. They've been doing it for 30 years. Now, you've probably walked on some of their incredible concrete floor coatings. They've done work in all the major sports stadiums and the arenas and the convention centers as well. You know, just last year, Specialty Coatings in Nashville, they installed over 1 million square feet of coatings for businesses across Tennessee. Now, those buildings include manufacturing, warehouses, airplane hangars, retail, and a lot more. Now, Specialty Coatings, they're not some fly-by-night company. A couple of guys show up with a bucket and rollers. No, they've got the equipment. I've been to their warehouse. It is incredible. They've got the equipment, the trucks, and the skilled installers, so your job is going to be done on time and on budget. So no matter how bad your floor looks, and remember, if your floor looks bad, that is a reflection on your business, Specialty Coatings can fix it. And each project is customized to your building and your needs. 615-591-9491, 615-591-9491. You can also email them, sales@specialtycoat.com. That email address, specialtycoat.com. Dan Mandis here for USS United Structural Systems. I've been telling you for years about USS. They are experts in waterproofing, concrete leveling, and foundation repair. I've used these folks a lot. Now, this is a great company. They've helped me several times with my home. That is why I proudly endorse USS, United Structural Systems. Now, I am one of 30,000 satisfied customers. Listen to this recent review on Google. Guy says that USS, they were highly professional. The crew was phenomenal from start to finish, and they treated his home as if they were working on their own home. And he does give United Structural Systems 5 stars all the way. Now, they're not going to charge you for any unnecessary repairs, and you won't pay a dime until the work is done and you are a satisfied customer. Now, they can help you with basement and crawl space waterproofing, basement wall stabilization, and foundation repair, among many other things. We guarantee our best. Call USS. Tell them Dan told you to reach out. 615-488-7855, 615-488-7855, USSTN.com. .858, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Welcome on in. Follow me, if you would, on Facebook, Rumble, Twitch. No, I'm reading the wrong copy.
Oh.
Follow me on Facebook.
just follow him. Follow him to his car because the show's over.
I only had 90 seconds I had to fill, and I shanked it.
I shanked something yesterday, and everybody was getting on me, and they said, "Is Dan on at 9 to noon?" Because I said crowd control munitions, but I said crowd control musicians.
Oh, my gosh. That is so
it's
funny.
It's pretty funny.
By the way, friends, whatever you do, don't go back and listen to the 5 o'clock hour and the conversation we had about what to call my podcasts and my reels and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Don't
it's
listen. It was one of those moments where Louie, we love you, Louie, where Louie said, you might want to rethink what you want to call it.
Thank goodness for Louie.
Thank the Lord for Louie.
Hey, Kamala Harris is coming to the Ryman Auditorium. Did you see that?
No.
What?
Yeah, I'll